Hey everybody, I'm TJ Majors, spotter of the 6 Cup car, 8 Xfinity car. 61 truck this weekend. I don't think the guy that wrecked us has lifted yet, but
I saw that. Yeah, he got in there pretty deep.
You sound busy.
I was very busy.
You didn't do the ARCA race?
No.
Slacker.
Yeah.
I mean,
Did you?
Wrong? No, well, no.
Slacker.
Race.
Brett Griffin, spotter this year for Colleague Racing. Cole, I did a whopping 5 races, man. Is that impressive?
Tough. Yeah, I mean, I get it. I totally get
Slacker. Slacker.
What's up, Freddie Kraft, spotter for Bubba Wallace and Chandler Smith. I had Nick Lights on up.
You don't even know how to say his name.
I told you last week I didn't even know who the was driving it. We got Andrew sitting in for Casey this morning. Hi, Andrew. How are you?
How's it going? Andrew Kurland.
Where the is Casey at?
Casey, I guess, is flying back from Phoenix.
I don't know how I could get home from there and she can't.
I can't believe it. Like, didn't she give you about that every time you're late?
She just didn't want to do it.
Yeah, no kidding.
Bottom line.
100%. Yeah.
Anyway, well, Brett, as Brett alluded to earlier, we do have.
Wait. He didn't say, cut that out.
Cut that out.
We all tweeted it yesterday.
No, you're good. It wasn't a secret. Cole Custer, Xfinity Series champion in the house. Congratulations, sir.
Thanks. Thank you guys for having me on.
Yeah, I asked Muffy at the bar, which Muffy is Brandon McReynolds. Cole's, I guess, manager? What do we call
manager?
What do we call him?
Life coach.
Don't not refer to him as your life coach, dear God.
I've already got questions. How do you get that nickname?
So Brandon McReynolds is a life coach. No, we got to clarify this, Cole, before we move this along.
That's a loose term. Very loose term. But no, Brandon's a great friend. And
here's what you don't do, Cole. Let me tell you why, because I've already done it. That's Brandon.
Brandon's the Clint line of, I will let you down. I have seen me do it. But, I mean, talk about that for a minute, because I know Brandon has had a pretty big effect on your career and life in general for you.
Yeah, I mean, I was teammates with Brandon and in K&N a little bit when we ran for McAnally kind of a little bit. So I've known him for a long time. Actually, the first time I ever spoke to him was at Dover running K&N, and he was kind of the guy there at that point. So my crew chief was like, go talk to Brandon. And he was not helpful whatsoever. I was like, what do you think? And he's like, oh, yeah, so you get on the gas and you'll figure it out.
Bud, you just get in there and drive it.
That's useless to me right now.
Brandon was a really good race car driver, though, at one point. I don't think everybody realized that. He kind of hit that point in his career where you have to have funding, and he didn't have enough funding to kind of take it to the next level. But I remember seeing some late model races where he ran against the big boys, and he had really impressive showings. So
even some ARCA and K&N stuff, he got in later. Just single races he ran fairly well in, and I don't know, just probably couldn't put a full season together and stuff. Couldn't afford it or
like we talk about. It's all about money most of the time. You know, there's guys out there that are super talented that just never get the breaks fall their way. I mean, Brandon's won races at Talladega. I've seen him win, all over the place with the K&N car. Just like you said, just poor timing. And speaking of that. Before we get into how great Saturday night was, take it back to, for me, beginning of the year, obviously, how hard is it? We talk about it all the time on here about guys that go to the Cup Series and are, they're not willing to go back, and what's that decision like when it comes down to it? Obviously, probably not your decision to make, but, what's it like when that happens where you have to take a step back and go back to the Xfinity Series?
Yeah, I mean, it was tough, I mean, at the end of the day, I can't say I wasn't frustrated, and I think I was frustrated myself at the same time because I felt like, a lot of it was put on me, and I think there were definitely things I could have done better. But from there, it was like when you get to go and run an Xfinity car that can go compete for wins, that excites you, like that's what every driver wants to go out there and do. And I felt like I could definitely prove something going down the Xfinity Series. And just being with a great group of people that truly believed in me and being able to build that into a championship team.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, the proof is in the pudding there. Saturday night, let's break that down. I mean, at one point I looked up and the 4 on the green-white checker there. First of all, let's go back to you're the fastest. I thought you were the fastest car on long runs pretty much throughout the race. The 20 was really good short run, but then he would kind of fade a little bit, and I saw you coming on there. So now you're in position. You're out front, coasting to the championship, and you get a yellow. What the hell goes through your mind when that happens?
I think I said on the radio, I think the one thing I said was like, these effing idiots. Like, no, I said clowns.
Well, if it makes you feel better, it was a race for like 38th where they spun out.
I know, right?
Yeah.
But
it really mattered.
that's just how it is, and you're just mad at the moment, at that happening. But at the end of the day, there's nothing you can do about it. So you take a deep breath, and it's like, all right, you just got to focus on the restart for 2 more laps, and it's gonna be what's gonna be.
And then the restart obviously doesn't go. The initial part of the restart doesn't go good. And it looked to me, now I don't know what was like going on in the car, but obviously the 7 gets outside you and puts you in a bad spot there. But it just seemed like there was no panic. Like you see a lot of guys in that position would maybe ship it off into one and wreck, or like we saw on Friday night, that disaster. But it seemed like you just like hit your entry right, got a big run off, and put yourself back in position to win right there.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like it's always a toss-up with the top or the bottom there. And I felt like with the resin coming in, the top was going to be a little bit better because you could just send it off in there and the resin would catch you. But it didn't work out. So, I mean, the one thing that I didn't want happened with the 7 getting outside of me. I tried to block him, but he was able to get there. And from there, I was 3 wide in the middle, and I knew I was just in a no-win situation pretty much on the entry. So I just made sure I made the corner, didn't wreck, and tried to downshift it and just get a good exit. And from there, it just, was all it would work out.
Yeah, I mean, you could tell. At one point, I looked up, and the 4 championship guys were 4 wide off of 2.
Yeah. It was not too far in front of us. I was like, there's no way they're all making this corner down here. And then it ended up being a really good race. I think Justin, I thought Justin had a pretty good entry to 3 and a middle of 3 and 4. The exit, he didn't get a very good exit, and I think, that was pretty much the end of it right there.
I think we both drove in until we saw Jesus. I think we had a great car to be able to make it stick. But, it was a wild wild last couple laps for sure.
7-win season the year before you moved into Cup full-time. I sat at this table, and I said you would win maybe 10 races this year. Was it harder to win this year than you thought it was going to be?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we fired off the season, and I mean, the first we had a really good shot to win Fontana, but we had a tire go down. But other than that, I mean, we kind of sucked. I mean, it was we ran 12th like 3 weeks in a row, and it was like, oh my God, what are we doing? And we just had to really kind of communicate with each other on what we needed to make better and truly fix what our problems were, and dig through a lot of different notes and figure out what we needed to do, because it was, I mean, there's 12 cars in the Xfinity Series right now that could legitimately win, where before it was more like 5 or 6 cars, I felt like. So I feel like the competition level in the Xfinity Series was pretty solid this year. I mean, everybody was really competitive, and if you were off your game, you were going to run 12th. So it was good that it wasn't easy. I think at the same time, though, I think if it was easy, I wouldn't have learned as much this year, and how to communicate with your team to make things better, and just how to really build something.
And Riley got fast.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I remember he drove by us at Vegas, and I was like, oh, my God. I got nothing for that. Like,
Vegas was unreal.
Yeah. I mean, which all year, honestly, he's had speed.
It's been his best year. Even the beginning of the year, we were all super impressed by Riley. He started off the first third of the year.
Who's we all? Because I wasn't.
Well,
I was the second half of the year.
You must not have been watching the first part, because that was the best start of a season he's had in ever.
Mm-hmm. Did he make the playoff?
Honestly, they should have made the playoffs easily.
Yes.
I'm just arguing with TJ, because you don't have the best start you've ever had and then not make a playoff 20 races in.
He made he made the playoffs, didn't he?
No.
Oh no, he didn't.
No.
That's
No, he didn't make playoffs.
Kligerman, he was racing.
Him in the 9 that we both thought we would have been in the playoffs, given how
he had
fast
the best
the cars
start
were.
of a year for his career that he's had. We were all.
But anyway, he's fast. You guys found something when it mattered.
Yeah, I mean, and it's crazy because you look at it, and at the start of the year, we were like, man, what are the JRM cars doing, or what are the Gibbs cars doing? Like, they figured something out with this new package that Xfinity has, and but at the end of the day, it's just little things. Like we just kept working on our stuff, spring shocks, heights, just getting all of it dialed in a little better, and all of a sudden you're ahead by 15 seconds with Riley, and we were super fast at Homestead, and just the whole playoffs were just extremely good for our whole team. So it's just the little things that add up, and it takes a great team to find those.
It does. 3 wins this year. I mean, and obviously you won the race that counted. And to Freddie's point, it was the best championship race of the weekend.
Oh, wow.
It wasn't even close.
Y'all didn't like the truck
What?
race?
Yeah. What?
Did you watch the truck race?
I did watch a truck race.
How'd that look
Wow.
from your seat? Just
it was
praying?
something. It was something.
Were you just praying that wasn't going to happen on Saturday night?
I knew it wasn't going to happen to us. I mean, I knew that the championship 4 and our deal were respectful and that they wanted to do it right. But that truck deal, I mean, man, it is wild.
It was across the board. Everybody I talked to was just like, that was the most embarrassing thing we've done in our. I mean, apparently they addressed it in the meeting yesterday.
Apparently, they all watched the Xfinity race from Martinsville and said, "Oh, this is how we're going to do Phoenix. Hold my beer."
Have we gotten any diagnosis on that engine from your Martinsville car by any chance? Like, is there any pieces left in it?
Doug Yates wasn't too worried about it, so I bet we won't ever see that engine again. Because I mean, we ran that thing hot. The alternator was going bad at the end, so the volts were all messed up, and then at the end, obviously backwards on fire, it's just on the chip,
pinned.
It was a disaster.
Talk about quickly, not quickly. You can talk about it all you want, but the difference between the Xfinity and the Cup car. You know, obviously we talk about this all the time on here about the races are more fun for us to watch. I got to think the cars are more fun to drive.
Yes. I mean, the thing about the Cup level that's so special is just the competition of it. You know, like when you're racing literally 30 guys out there that could probably go win. So it's just insane, the competition at every single level out there. But the Xfinity cars in general, the dirty air is not as bad. You can hang the cars out more sideways. The tire fall off's better. You know, overall, it's just a really racy package where you can go and run different lanes and have comers and goers throughout a run, and not have to. It's easier to make passes too, just because you're not stuck in such a bad dirty air wake. So you can just race your tails off with everybody out there.
What's the future look like for Cole Custer? I know, obviously, you announced this week. I think you're back in the 00 for another year. Is that? I mean, obviously the 10 car's sitting there open. God knows we've heard so many rumors about that, and it's all we talked about with Brandon earlier. You know, it all comes down to money. What are we looking at? Just we're going to come back and repeat next year or what?
That's the plan. Yeah, I mean, we're coming back in the Xfinity Series with the 00 team, so I'm pumped about that. I mean, seeing what we built this year and how much that went into it, and just being with that group of guys is awesome, and I wouldn't want to do it with anybody else. And I think that we're going to have a great year next year. And with Riley, too, I mean, I told them, like, hopefully we can split the races in half. You know, like I felt like we had so much speed in the playoffs. I mean, we can do a lot of stuff next year, I feel like, so I'm excited about it.
Anybody rule changes for the Xfinity cars?
No, nothing for next year, I don't think.
Well, that's good for you.
Yeah, exactly. I'm pumped.
Yeah, it's a good time to be riding that wave. So yeah, I mean, there's no reason why I don't think you'll double your wins next year.
So what are you going to do to celebrate this thing? What's that going to look like?
Well,
he's here. Duh.
We can't go to Cocktail Cove.
Luckily, Brandon's not back yet from Phoenix.
So the thing that's crazy about it, so I have Brandon, that's my best friend and manager, and then also Philip Smalley, who manages Ross.
Yeah.
And they won the race. And Philip's getting married this January.
Oh.
So we got his bachelor party this weekend in New Orleans.
New Orleans?
And Brandon's the best man.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a disaster.
So it was nice knowing you.
Holy cow. Jeez.
I don't think that's a good place for y'all to go. Y'all might want to move it. Yeah.
Poor Phil.
Move it to like Huntersville.
And Brandon's having a baby in like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, we were.
So the next 3 weeks are going to be really hard on you.
Speaking of that, I have to give a shout out to your wife, Carrie, who at Brandon's bridal shower, she was talking about maybe starting to listen to the podcast. And I said, well, listen tomorrow, and I'll give you a shout out, which I think she might have been a little under the weather at that point. So she might not have remembered. But, obviously, I know family's important to you. Your dad works over there at SHR. Obviously, Carrie was there the other night. Just, what's that support system like in your world?
Yeah, I mean, it's huge. I mean, Carrie's been there. Me and her met in 2019, actually, when I was in the Xfinity Series still. So she was there during that good year, and then kind of through the whole Cup experience, and has had my back, I mean, the whole way. I mean, she's been so supportive, and I definitely wouldn't be here without her, and just all the support that she's given me. And obviously my family, I mean, my dad got me into it when I was 5 years old, and he's always been a huge part of my career. And without him just busting his tail every single day, and he's the guy out at the racetrack sweating through his shirt every single weekend. But it's just awesome to have that atmosphere and be able to work with your dad. But you have to keep things separate a little bit too. It's not the easiest thing to do, but at the end of the day, I think it's very thankful to have just the opportunities I've given.
I had a laugh during the race, and this probably never crossed your mind, but it was on the replay board like 10 times, the fight you and John Hunter had at, where was that, Canada? And I was like, did you ever think about, like, I'm going to have to tackle this son of a bitch again if he does something stupid?
So I was just thinking about that. He brought up, I wasn't worried about that. All these championship 4, I'm like, going into 3 on the last lap. If John Hunter's second to you, do you think he doesn't hit you? I think we wrestle again.
We might have. Yeah, we might have for sure.
That's probably the most epic Goldberg moment in NASCAR history.
Did you get madder as you got out of the car and stood there? Like what?
Yeah, I mean that whole experience. I mean that year we struggled in the truck, and we had to win that race to make the playoffs. And that was our chance. And he just stripped it away from us. So it was this sucks. It was horrible. And
of all the races I've ever seen in NASCAR history, I've never seen a race winner not even on the racetrack when he wins the race. That's what that came down to. I mean, it was a melee where you guys went completely off the track, up against the guardrail. And then when you came flying across the racetrack and you nailed his ass and dropped him on the ground, I was like, yeah, I'm here for this.
So when you got out, you got really mad, obviously.
Well, I was pretty mad. And then it was the point of, like, he was doing burnouts out there, and he was going to get the checker flag, and I was like, that's just not happening. It's just not going to happen. And I was just so mad. I was like, I'm taking off. And I was like, where is he? And he was like, I'm on the front stretch somewhere. So I finally spotted him. And, I mean, I was going to knock his lights out. But the fans, they started, like, yelling at him.
And he looked.
And he looked at me, and I was like, oh, man, this is going to be big now. I hope I don't miss.
Oh, man, imagine he didn't know you were coming and got blindsided.
Could you imagine if this had been like one of that John West moment where Cole gets there and they belly rub and they hug? No, this guy takes him out.
I don't think you should bring him up right
But the mild-mannered Cole Custer that I knew back then, like, I was fully surprised.
I think we were all surprised.
Yeah.
I mean, he's going to football tackle a guy running across the track.
I don't know if I do it again. I mean, that was definitely when you're younger, you do some stupid things. But
So wait a minute. Saturday night, you're leading. He takes you.
I mean, you'd probably do something. I don't know if I do it the same way or not, but he'd probably do something.
He'd be. It'd probably be pretty ugly.
So what'd your spotter tell you on the last restart to get you ready for it?
I don't even know.
Coming to the green. Seeing the bet.
Yeah. I mean,
Good luck.
I was just, focused on what we had at hand, really. I mean, I think that was just the biggest thing I had in my mind. I kind of blocked everything out at that point.
What did you know that you had to do to win this thing?
On that last restart? I mean, it all comes down to the jump,
Not spin the tires.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a toss-up on the top or the bottom. But if you get a good jump, I mean, it kind of takes care of itself. And I didn't get a great jump. So the 7 was outside of me. The 20 probably wouldn't have been as far up on me into turn 1 if the 7 didn't get outside me, because the 7 drug us both
Drags
back.
You back.
But at the end of the day, I mean, it just the jump didn't go how we wanted it to, but we're still able to keep our cool and just make sure that, you just take it one step at a time. I mean, especially in those championship situations, what I've learned over the years, I feel like. But I feel like in those championship situations, what I've learned is you just have to take it one step at a time. I mean, so many people, I think, get caught up in the big picture of it and really just just everything involved in it. But at the end of the day, if you just take it one lap at a time and just do what you know what to do, it's going to work out.
We talk about all the time on here, you have to protect your right rear at all costs, because it does suck you back more than if somebody's on your left rear. As a driver, how much do you feel that when they're on your right rear versus their left rear, as far as it screwing up your momentum?
Yeah, I mean, it's huge. It's definitely a little bit more on the right rear than the left rear, but whenever you can get that side draft, I mean, it's huge, especially, and that's why you see a lot of times on restarts, the top, it has all the momentum, but sometimes they're all trying to put each other 3 wide, that it actually just drags everybody back. But it's definitely a huge part of it for sure.
Seen Tony on the box going nuts after the race is over. What'd he say when you got to see him?
He was pumped, and, that was really cool. I mean, I think, I called him, at the end of last year when the whole deal happened, and, I just said, like, anything that you can think of that I can do better, like, I want to know, and I wanted to take it as a year that I could just try and improve myself and prove to people that I could do it, and he was extremely supportive along the way, and he was pumped up after the race. You know, it was cool to see his excitement and, you know, just how the last few years have gone. And I think just it was a great day for SHR and bringing a championship home.
Yeah, honestly, you know, I don't know. Obviously, you can't comment about this probably, but I think it's probably one of the best things that's happened to you is going back there this year because, you know, you look at, we've talked about on here, the Stewart Haas cars just haven't had speed on Sundays. And, you know, if you're just back over there and you're running where they're at, you know, then it's probably just going to be a deterrent to the future of your career. Now you go back, win races, win a championship, and you're kind of vault yourself back into the conversation. So awesome for you, man. Congratulations. We're glad you swung by here today. Thanks for coming.
But yeah.
Anybody else got to say anything? Or?
No,
I know
you
TJ
were doing such a good job. I was going to let you do that for once.
Freddie just running it.
Cole,
Yeah.
real quick, like you filled in for Brad Saturday. How chaotic was that, trying to focus on the Xfinity Championship, but then also working on that Cup car?
It was tough. I mean, especially I got the call at 8 a.m. I think I was rolling into the track, just the Xfinity garage, and I caught the call from Zippy. And he was like, you know, I think Brad had to fly home. He's having a baby. And it was like, I've been the backup driver. I called Roush and Penske and, you know, SHR, obviously. And I've been the backup driver for most of the year, or, you know, wanted to be the first call. And it had to be that weekend, you know, like championship weekend. Like
Not only that weekend, that day.
Yeah, that day. And it's like, man, this is a tough decision. But I had to do it. You know, I wanted to show people that I want the opportunity to go run Cup cars and be able to be in the top series. So having that opportunity meant a lot, and having them trust me with his car. But it was tough because his seat actually fit decent. We didn't have to change a lot. I think I added a 1/4 inch of foam on the right side of the shoulder, and that was it. But I think I sat a little bit lower than him, so I couldn't really see exactly how I wanted to.
Sometimes that's a good thing.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, not that. That thing, I was slow. But and in the hauler, I was talking to McCall, just trying to figure out what he had for a steering box and brakes. And he's like, yeah, he likes a really stiff pedal. Like, he can barely walk after Martinsville. And I was like, all right, I guess I'll try and figure it out. And I went into turn 3 on the out lap, and I was thinking, like, I'll try and lay down a solid lap. And I went into turn 3, and I was like, this thing does not stop. This is not the brake pedal I'm used to whatsoever. So at that point, I'm like, do not back this thing in the fence. You know?
Could you tell in those 2 laps that TJ is the worst spotter on the roof? Or
he did a good job. You know, like he was telling me.
I think I was like the only spotter on the roof. So
I was surprised he was up there.
There was so for Xfinity qualifying there was probably 5, and for Cup qualifying there was probably 7 or 8. So yeah, it was pretty slim up there.
Yeah, but it was good. I mean, he was telling me what the shift points were and stuff, and I just shifted. I think whatever felt right. It's just it was fine. I mean, you just try and do the best you can in that situation when everything's not perfect. And
well, you didn't make the news for the wrong reason. That's the goal of that session is to not be in the news for the wrong thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Limited Cup schedule next year?
You know, I'd like to run some Cup races for sure, but nothing solidly planned at the moment.
After the Xfinity race, you forgot your bag?
Yep. Yeah.
How did that happen?
Well, we're doing all the pictures and stuff, and I leave my bag on the hauler, you know, to get changed and everything, all my clothes, my wallet, my rental car keys. So
wow,
they're doing tech. They finish tech. We're still doing pictures, and they take off. And they're like an hour down the road. Me, Ashlyn, Carrie, Mike Arning all had to go chase after the hauler, and that's why we never made it out to the club that night.
Way to go.
For the party. But,
I promise you, it was a party. We had a celebration for me and Brandon had a celebration for Cole that he wasn't a part of, but just so you know, we had a good party for you. It was a big deal.
Thought that counts.
And I will be expecting a call for whatever the actual celebration, unless it's just going to be New Orleans.
We'll call you when we're in New Orleans.
Don't call me from New Orleans. I'm not going there with you idiots.
That's going to be fun, man. Well, hey, this sets you up for a really fun winter, man. So congratulations, obviously. Big win for you, big win for Ford, big win for Stewart Haas Racing, and congrats, champ.
Well, thank you, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Congrats again on the championship, and if you got to fill in again, we'll try to soften the brake pedal.
Well, guys, that was pretty cool. Getting Cole Custer in, the champ, Freddie.
Got to have at least one champ.
You got to get at least one.
We had both. Was that last year? No, 2 years ago, right?
I think it was 2 years
Ben
ago.
and,
when Ben Rhodes won
Ben and
his
Hemrick.
first truck championship.
Right, it's Ben and Hemrick.
Yeah, it was. Larson won that year, right? Cup.
Yeah.
Yeah. Larson big timed us.
Yeah. Well, they got to go. So
it's hard.
I could get them, but they got to go to New York. Like they go right to New York, so they're not around. So I'd rather have them. I could probably call Blaine. He's probably still drunk, but
oh yeah, I'm 100% zero doubt.
If he's been to bed yet, I don't know what time they got to go to New York. But
when we were sitting in here last week and we were looking at the Cup Series championship I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I was sitting here going, man, this is a bland group of young dudes. Like I don't know who resonates the best with our fan base after Blaney, because to me it's obvious Blaney of these four resonated the best. Listen, Kyle Larson, one of the best drivers in the world, not a big personality. Christopher Bell, amazing race car driver, not a big personality. William Byron, obviously 6 wins on the year, great season, still a pretty chill personality, right? You don't know a lot about those three guys. They're as far as their demeanor. Of the four, Ryan Blaney, to me, resonates the best with, hey, he's a legacy guy. His dad raced. He represents the sprint car family. I felt like of the four, like intrinsically, he was the guy we probably needed to win this thing.
Yeah, for sure. And, I mean, you seen that right in the press conference afterwards. He said, which I didn't get to see much of the battle with Ross, but I kind of saw bits and pieces where it looked like Blaney was better than him and couldn't get around, and Ross was kind of blocking a little bit.
Well, I mean, and Ross was
being Ross.
Ross was being Ross.
But I guess Blaney must have hit him at some point.
Oh, he nailed him.
And
I watched it happen.
Somebody asked him if he hit him on purpose. He's like, "Fuck yes, I hit him on purpose."
Yeah. We actually have a clip.
All right, so we have a clip.
We've got a clip. I was going to save it for
hopefully
spot on, spot
hopefully
off,
nobody calls Travis while we're trying to do this.
The fact that Ross said I raced him hard, I mean, the dude blocks 3 lanes, getting in the corner every lap. I mean, I don't know how I'm racing him hard. When you're looking in your mirror and you're going left and right and left and just following wherever I go, I don't understand how he thinks I'm racing him hard. He's just backing me up to the 5, so I have to go. I mean, he's backing me up to Larson to where I'm going to be in trouble. Well, fucking right, I hit him on purpose. I mean, yeah. Yes, I hit him on purpose. He blocked me on purpose 10 times. So, yeah, I hit him on purpose. I mean, what do you expect me to do?
That's an accurate statement.
I think Ross's rebuttal to this was epic, too, though. Ross said, I knew he was mad, and I didn't care then.
We have a clip.
And now I know he's mad. I don't care now.
We got more clips.
We've got more clips.
Yeah, it was in every thought, every corner, every throttle application, every brake input, every downshift, upshift, all parts of the lap. I was not going to crash him. I was not going to use my front bumper, side fenders, anything. Dirty air? Different story. Yeah, I'm going to, and I'm going to keep the lead because that's everything. So, yeah, I know he's mad, and I don't care. I do not care. I did not care then. I do not care now. I'm here to race him. I'm not going to wreck him. And I gave him the bottom most times. One time I was inside of him was after he got by me. I crossed back over into 3, and I made sure to wrap the bottom. Like, I'm not going to slide up and pinch him at all. It's in my mind the entire time, for sure.
I want to bring something up right here, Freddie. Okay. Do you remember when we got a phone call from somebody at Trackhouse Racing, and they were upset at us because we said the words on the show, Ross Chastain doesn't care?
Yes.
What the f*** did Ross just say?
I don't care.
How many times did he say
care.
it?
I didn't care. I won't care.
We
still
said
don't care.
this is how he races.
Don't give a f*** to a return for one final show.
I mean, at Ty Norris, I'll say who it was because I think he's over it now. It's been a few years. But he was mad at us. I mean, he was legit mad at us saying that Ross doesn't care how he races people. Ross just said it.
Yeah, which I think was very evident throughout the course of that series. That
it's not that he doesn't care how he races people. He doesn't care that if they don't like how he races. Yeah. And I think he played everything. I think Ross did everything how he should have done it. He's there to win that race.
He's in victory lane, ain't he?
He's in victory lane.
Boy, we didn't know it for 14 minutes. TV did not want to show anything to do with who won the race.
Yeah.
It was all about the Champ 4. Kevin Harvick. Eric Amarola was missing from this whole thing too, by the way, but they finally got to Ross.
So you know in turn where we spot from in 3 and 4 there, you can't really it's really hard to tell where they're running, what lane they're running through 1 and 2, right? When they're running the bottom, is he on the paint? Is he 2 lanes below the paint? Like, it's hard to tell where they're at. So I'm watching the infield TV thing that they have down there, and I try to watch it to see where guys, how low they're getting. And in cup practice, it was the entire run that we were on the track, they showed the 12 car the entire time. Like I could not tell where anybody else was going or doing, and it was the entire time. Like, you couldn't even, like, I don't know. It's so focused on that.
Yeah, it was crazy. Ross Chastain, though, 4th win in his Cup Series career. That's a big number. That's a lot of wins for a guy that really hadn't been in a fast car that long. And he's won at 4 completely different style racetracks. Obviously, road course, plate track. Where was he? Nashville earlier this year, and now you come back and win at Phoenix. I think it's a big statement win for Trackhouse Racing to really set them up for
it's a good offseason
for a great winner. Yeah.
He was strong too, because you could see it the first run, that first stage, we were actually pretty good, and we drove up to, I don't know, 3rd or 4th. And then Ross, he started behind us, probably 3 or 4 spots behind us. He chased us down, passed us, and was running the leaders down. So you knew, like, if there's any point, if he could get track position, he was going to be strong. Obviously, track position was important. I thought, and then Brett, I don't know, watching it on TV, because obviously the watching versus being there at Martinsville was a little bit skewed. I thought, you were there with me, this was one of, mid-pack anyway, the better. I don't know if now I say this because I don't know if I set the bar so low for this place that I just think that once I see somebody pass somebody, it's a good race. But it was a little bit better mid-pack. I felt like there was fall off. You could pass guys. We seen the 12 didn't win the race off pit road, but was able to manage to drive back by the 5 and the 24. I know he couldn't get around the 1, but it still wasn't good by any means. Don't get me wrong, but it was a little bit better than it has been in the past.
I actually thought it was very racy, and guys could compete from the very bottom of 3 or 1 and 2 all the way to the wall. The guy on the bottom obviously makes up the time in the middle, but the guy on the exit crosses him on, can make up the time with the big run, and you could pass. Obviously, I thought we were gonna have a really long day because we were starting the very back. I'm like, okay, well, hopefully we can get to the top 20 because it's gonna be super hard to pass. And by the end of the first stage, I think we were already there, and then second stage, we're close to the top 10, and even in the long run, I saw guys with better cars catch guys and pass guys. I don't know what made it so different this time, but the track was wide. The cars they could race multiple lanes, and if a guy ran, it's a chess match into 3 every single lap. Whether that guy's going to die to the bottom or is he going to roll up, and because if you're running the bottom, the guy behind you just runs the lane, gets a big run for the straightaway, which is what you need to be able to do that stuff. And I thought it was actually one of the better Phoenix races that we've had there. If not, it might have been the best Phoenix race we've ever had there with the passing. I don't think you weren't necessarily stuck behind a guy. They would catch a guy and work him over. It's kind of got lost, but I thought Buscher had a really good shot at winning that race. He slowly moved up all day and then passed all them guys up front, passed Ross for the lead. Comes out, we have a yellow, comes down. He just unfortunately has a bad pit stop and comes out 9th, and he got back up inside the top 5, I think, at the end, but
never recovered.
Yeah, I mean, he was working on it, but I saw him racing the guys really respectfully as well. There, I saw him trying to pass a 24 and giving him plenty of room. But yeah, I thought the track was pretty good. I mean,
what did it look like on TV, Brett?
Well, I was watching some on TV, some in person running around, and I sent a tweet out at one point because what was frustrating is we saw where Martin Truex Jr. and Ryan Blaney were significantly faster than Ross Chastain. They both at this point had run him down. One would try to pass them. They would be penalized. They would go from running second, trying to pass for the lead, back to third. Ross maintained the lead. So, like when I hear the comments of, man, we're gonna work on this car this winter. What have you been waiting on? Because this car's looked like this for 2 years. They need to get aggressive. They need to go after some of these changes. They need to stop putting these teams in an expensive science project, which is what all these tests are. Who pays for the test? The teams. The team staffs it. They supply the car. They supply the motor. They supply the driver. They supply all these things, the miles that it takes to get the hauler there, the airplane ride to get the crew guys there. Stop with the science projects. Go in here and do what the drivers are asking you to do You know, Steve Phelps, Steve O'Donnell, those guys addressed the media this week, and they basically said, we're going to try all these things, but horsepower is probably our last thing that we're going to look at. We're willing to look at it, but it's probably last. We want to work on the gearing. We want to work on all these things. What are we waiting on? Hurry up and do it.
I think and the thing is, first, which like you talk about the expenses and travel, like the test is coming up is in Phoenix. Like they're going to go right back out there in a couple of weeks.
Well, at least it's close. It's only 1,600 miles.
But I think that we saw at Martinsville, and you saw it again yesterday, that different tire, whatever they're doing with the tire, is going in the right direction. So if that might be the biggest thing we got to fix is the tire. If you get a tire that wears out, and we can't, I listened to the Denny show last week, and he was talking about like the tire was really good, it laid rubber down, but then once it laid rubber down, it became everybody. Then the tire stops wearing because it's taking the abrasiveness of the racetrack. It's just laying rubber on it. So then it just eventually stops wearing. And that's when we all become, we all start running the same speed. So if we can just get a tire that continues to wear somehow, and that's on Goodyear. Obviously, Goodyear needs to be safe. They can't have a debacle like they had at Indy that year. But I feel like a lot of this is going to be on them here to get this racing better, because we've seen the little changes they made to the tire now is the 2 races they've done it with, it's trending in the right direction. So that would be my focal point. And obviously we'll beat to death on here about the shifting, which it sounds like they're trying to do something about. But I think that the tire might be the end all be all for especially as big as it is.
Yeah, probably the most surprising thing for me all day watching that race play out. And clearly Christopher Bell never really had a fair shot to show his hand, having the flat that he had going into the corner and wrecking. But when you look at Hendrick Motorsports, which is one of the most dominant teams in all motorsports in the world in terms of their success, they struggled yesterday. I mean, when William had, obviously he started from the pole, had the first pit stall, went out, led some laps. So, man, once he got mired up, once he got in traffic, done. And I was really surprised that Blaney, the Ford team that we've been saying all year, man, Fords are struggling other than Chris Buescher. Fords don't have any wins, and then boom, Blaney, the Ford team is the guy to beat. And it's obvious, when you saw the information coming out after practice that on the long run, Blaney's got the best car. Well, he qualified 15th, and you're sitting here saying, ooh, he may not be a factor. This is a short race. It's only 312 laps. He obviously drove up to the front, but even while he's driving to the front, he's typical Ryan Blaney. He's going nuts. He's screaming, saying, I can't do anything. I can't pass. I'm stuck. But as that race went on, it was obvious that he was the best car, and I would have lost this bet 100 times over when the last pit stop happened and Larson come off pit road first. I was like, well, this is over. You just gave the best driver in the world better track position, but that wasn't the case.
Something that I found out today that I really didn't like, and I think this is one thing that kept the 24 in the race, was that first pit stall selection. And when I seen him qualify on the pole on Saturday, I was like, well, that's a big deal. Like, that might have won him the championship, because you've seen, like, I'm not, you guys have had poles this year, I think, right? Yeah. Like, that number 1 pit stall is usually worth 2 spots.
Yeah, we had it a couple times this year.
It's just, no matter what your pit stop is, it's usually worth 2 spots.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is. And so I'm like, man, that's going to be a big deal for him. But what I did not realize was, did you know that the championship guys get the first 4 pit selections?
Yeah.
I didn't. I think that's dumb. Like, I think if you don't, it should be the same as it always is. If you qualify like you should get a pit stall. Like,
it's also the qualifying thing too. I still don't know. They get the best qualifying times because they all go at the end.
I don't mind that, because that keeps it kind of. I think they should all be in the same group though. Like,
why change it? Like, I mean, you've earned where you're going.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not so bad about that, but I think if you qualify, them guys qualified 15th, and I think the 20 was behind it. They should get the 15th, 16th best stalls. Like that's part of it. If you have a pit stop, you should get a pit stall. But I'll change my mind if we ever make the Final Four on that. But
was that always the case?
I don't think so.
I don't think it was either.
I saw it on Reddit the other day, and I texted Bob this morning. And I said, I don't even know. Is this true? And he said,
I don't think this is the first year.
I think it's the only fair way to do it in terms of not put you're racing 3 guys for a championship. You're not racing 33 guys for a championship. So where you're saying to do it, treat it like you normally would treat it, you're putting that 4th guy potentially at a big deficit, when in reality all the TV coverage is about those 4 guys. All the hype all week is about those 4 guys. So if somebody has a problem, why stick in between a Rick Ware and a BJ McLeod car? You know, that they're going to have cars coming around them and cars in the way all day. So I don't disagree with what you're saying, but I don't know how you do it fairly, because to your point, they should all 4 qualify back to back to back to back. They shouldn't be in 2 different groups, because how much can the track cool down or heat up from Group 1 to Group 2? We've seen it all year. So I know what they're trying to do, and I don't fault them at all for that.
I just think you're forcing it too much. Let it play out. If you brought your A game and you qualify right, then that's what you get.
We force everything, though.
I'm not saying we don't force a lot, but I don't know. I
mean, like, it's just like people were debating, okay, you guys worked the truck race, right? How many times?
Well, I did like a half of it or something.
How many times did NASCAR come over the radio at the end of the race and scold you as spotters to get these drivers under control?
I don't think it ever happened. Maybe one time.
How many times would that have happened if David Hoots was in that booth?
Oh, they would have started from the lap 1 before anything went wrong.
We would have known that Big Brother was watching over us, and we also would have known when he said that over the radio that they're listening to all of us and that we better deliver the message.
Quit your Jimmy jacking. That was what it was.
I mean,
it was that or hey, you know, quit it or I'm going to post you.
Yeah.
You know, you can go to the back and think about it.
But my point is, like, I don't want to see a rule for a rule for a rule. But at the end of the day, sometimes you got to send the police in there and say, hey, y'all cut this crap out. You're messing up my show. And so for us to have Friday night go on as long as it did, and when did you say they said something to the drivers?
It was towards the very late. Like, you know.
I was already out.
Yeah, you were gone. It was maybe the last restart.
So this is on Sunday over the radio.
No, well, that was on Friday night.
Friday night.
Then they said something. I'm sorry. Yeah, in the drivers' meeting, I guess Elton said, you saw what not to do Friday night. You saw what to do, how they did it last night. Let's make it more like last night.
So when Blaney hit Ross Chastain's spotter was fussed at by a NASCAR official.
Really?
Yes. The official went down there and said, what are you doing? And the guy's like, what am I doing? I'm trying to win a race, right? But he didn't want Ross Chastain to be, I don't know, racing, I guess, Blaney that hard. Because why? Here comes Truex in the picture. Like, they didn't want another shit show on their hands. So like, I just think we got to get back to the respect thing. But I don't know how we do that and do it right, because these kids are learning to race like idiots on iRacing. They're learning to race like idiots at their local short track. I mean, we see a video every single week on Twitter where some up-and-comer is just completely acting like a moron on the racetrack, and by the time they get to the Truck Series, there's 10 of them out there acting like complete morons. And then what happens to those guys? Well, they eventually graduate to the Xfinity Series, where they also are going to race like morons.
There's a lot of guys that get pushed up too quick, and they definitely try too hard there.
I think one of them might have wrecked you the other day.
Yeah.
Well, that's a kid that's been thrown out of the
I think his
Cars
spotter
tour.
just got here.
Is he in the house, ladies and gentlemen? He has made it. Bring your ass over here. What the f*** you doing over there? Bring the beer with you.
He bought some Busch Light. That was kind of you.
Goddamn, Joel. I mean,
Joel rolls in with a suitcase of beer.
I mean, a legit suitcase of beer.
I mean, an 18-pack.
I mean, how long do you think this show is?
Put your headset on.
I thought I was done with the headsets.
So, Joel, I'll set you up because I've known you the longest out of any of us three.
You're right.
We've been on the roof together for probably 25 years, it seems like. You got your start, though, back in the day.
These are
with
big
who?
boys. Jesus.
When I first started,
You want one, TJ?
I mean, I don't know how far you want to go back. I drove a show car.
I want to go back to the beginning.
A show car.
Yeah, and I wasn't very good at that either. So
You one of them guys that revs the motor up?
Anybody else over there?
yeah, it sounds like you're setting the timing at like 97,000.
That's what they do. You hear them down there all the time.
I did a show car for Junior Johnson's deal in '91 with Jeff Bodine. And the show car thing's pretty cool, except you're in Richmond and the race is in Bristol. So I'm like, I'm at grocery stores and this and that. I said, this ain't going to work. So I got done with that, and then.
But I want to back up just a minute right here.
Okay.
All right. Show car driver, they have to be good with the public. That's not really one of your fortes.
That was another reason that didn't work out. Because
So the show car driver's got to get there, got to park the truck and trailer, got to get the car out. It's got
Talk
to be
to
pretty.
people.
All these
Smile.
people are going to come
Smile.
up.
That ain't it.
smile, talk to people.
And back then, a show car at a grocery store was a big deal.
That's
like,
a big deal.
But the reason it almost worked for me, it was the Budweiser show car. I mean, back when Jeff O'Dine was wheeling that thing.
Oh.
So, you imagine you're 20 years old, you got a new job as a show car driver, and you get 2 cases of beer a week for free. So I thought I had won the lottery.
This is
back
starting to
then.
explain a lot.
Yeah, you were 21 years old. Yeah, you were 21.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, 21. What was I thinking? I went through like 3 drinking ages. There was one of them deals where it was legal, it's not legal. I mean, so whatever. It's good now, though.
So you quit show car driving, and then what happened?
I pull up at Alan Kowicki's. It's kind of a weird deal. You pull up, and it's I guess that's a Spire shop now. You can kind of pull up. There's a bank, and I just drive by into where the snack truck was at because I knew what the snack truck was about, obviously. So they're out there, and I walk up to the guy, and I say, "Hey, bud, I want a job, and I'll work here for free until you think you need to pay me." So he hums that over a little bit, and he said, "Come on inside." So I went straight into bathrooms and cleaned the bathrooms. And then they roll out this big cart with all these parts on it. And I washed parts in Barsal all day. So at the end of the day, I felt like a robot. My arms. And then he said, "Okay, take all that stuff to the motor shop. We're going to throw it away. Have you got anything to do tomorrow? Because we're going to Daytona for 3 days testing." I said, "No." He said, "Be here at 7 o'clock. So I worked for Alan for probably, the whole winter because the race season was over. I worked for him the whole winter. And then
What year was this?
This is going into 92, the year he wins the championship.
Yeah.
So I start out with him, just mess around all winter for free. And at some point, he had to go to Atlanta for the Hooters car and get a photo shoot. And he said, "I need somebody to drive the car." And I've been working for free, going to change tires almost. And he says, "If you'll take that car, yeah." So I took the car on Saturday, which is fine. You go down there, there's Hooters girls and Alan and all. It's
That ain't a bad thing.
No, it's not a bad gig at all. Free Hooters stuff.
So you got Hooters deal, Budweiser deal, this
yeah,
guy.
everything.
Yeah. So then I get back, and he writes me a check for $100. And I thought, okay, maybe I'm on the deal, And stupid me cashed the check. Because after that, Alan paid me $250 cash every Friday. He would just come out with money. I guess that was part of the per diem or whatever. But he paid me then till like we left. There was 6 of us that quit Allen's in 92 and started, including Ray Evernham, who's a little bit smarter than me.
A little bit.
Brian Weitzel, he did a little bit better. But we did that deal and started Jeff Gordon's deal. And then I spent it seemed like a lifetime there because that was hard work. Jeff was awesome. Rookie year would be running second and wreck 20 times. So you work 8 days a week. Ray was going to make it perfect, as he did, and they won championships and done this and that. But it was a tough go. And after that, with that deal with Ray, I didn't know if I wanted to really race. So I kind of dropped back to Xfinity. I got to get my stuff back together because I'm not ready for this all night. I was driving a truck. Me and Brian Weitzel are driving a truck. We're doing this, we're doing that. And it's, at 6 o'clock every day, Ray would come around and say, "Get a dinner order." So you knew you were working. But now Ray, I love Ray. Ray taught you how to work. We had meetings at 7 o'clock, which meant you better have your ass in the seat at 6:45 with a pad and pen in your hand because, don't be coming up the steps to get to the meeting. Be there. And that's what a lot of guys in racing don't have now. We sit out, and it's kind of funny. We got Joe Campbell that spots for the 14. So I got Fedewa and I got Andy Houston, all old school guys. And we get, we're at the car at 20 minutes till every morning. And we're like, what time you thinking on Joe? And it was funny the other day and we're we got 3 hour advantage from the West Coast or out in, 3 hour time.
Yeah.
It was like 28. They said no, and he's never. I mean, it's usually just straight up. If we say 8, I said you got to do the other deal. You got to tell him like 15 minutes different. But I mean, you would get your ass left. We've all been left because there's that 15-minute deal that these Cup guys had back in the day that doesn't exist now. There's a lot of things that don't exist now. And the further we get into that box, we'll get into that. But from the Kowicki deal, went to Jeff Gordon, and then after that bounced down, and then, had an unfortunate about a 3-year deal with Kenny Schrader, who is zero fun. I mean, so
he don't know how to have fun.
no, he got no idea. That's why I come in with a box of beer. But like Schrader's deal was so fun. We were doing the cup stuff, and that was when you were still mechanicking a little bit on the car and spotting. Well, then I just kind of turned into a spotter. Well, then me and Schrader would dirt race all week. So we'd leave on Tuesday, go dirt race at about 3 different spots, and then by the time the weekend come, you couldn't even drink by the weekend because you'd had so much fun, and you've been to Wheatland, you've been to Farmer City, all these dirt tracks, and Schrader.
You were flying a lot of places too, right?
Oh yeah, he had 2 King Airs, so we would leave in one of those on Tuesday and just, we raced, and then we played, and we raced, and we played, and I read the other day where he says he's going to do it 30 more years, and I think, hell, I'm 55, so. I know Schrader's a week or 2 older than me.
What was his pilot's name that was famous around here?
Earl.
Earl.
And Earl would come in. It was so, I'm telling you, I could sit here for 6 months. But I sit up front with Earl, and Schrader sit in the back. Because you couldn't let Schrader sit in the front. Because he got up there one time, and he had some wine, and he kind of fell asleep in front of a King Air. And we've all been in front of a King Air.
Yeah.
Well, he poured the wine right in the avionics. So now the fuses are popping out, and the shit's going bad. And then another time, he tries to help, like I did with Earl. I'd turn the radio or do, we've all switched, King Air is pretty simple until you need to whatever. But Schrader shuts the fuel off. So they're thinking they're going down. And they are down at the interstate looking to land. And finally, Earl sees it and hits the switch. Here they go back up. But, Earl would come in.
Did he flip it off on purpose?
No, Schrader was just trying to help, but he was trying to save fuel too, I guess.
Oh
I don't know what that plan was. But,
so you got to tell the story about the time that the pilot shows up and y'all just sit there for a while, and you ain't moved yet.
Now, which location is this? Because there's a couple of them. I've had some pilots.
He couldn't find the keys to the plane.
Oh, now this is kind of Schrader, when he bought his second King Air, he bought Rusty Wallace's 200. Schrader had a 100. So Earl gets from a 100 to 200, and you would think it would be a lot of difference. But they're sitting on the 200, and here we are, okay, let's go. And Earl's like, I'm going to have to get him to come out and show me how to start it. And then so he goes in and gets Rusty's pilot to come out and show him how to get it going. I didn't know there'd be that much difference.
I ain't flying on a plane with a pilot that don't know how to start it.
That's scary already.
Earl would do some of the stuff. Like we'd come in and, he's going, come on, baby. And I'm sitting there with him, and that come on, baby stuff, I don't like any of that. And I'd be like, Earl, you may get the flaps. They're not working. So we come in, and Schrader, we're upside down. We're flying through because we're going to the dirt race. Because Schrader's getting $5,000 to show up at these dirt races, so we're going.
Yeah.
No matter. We get up there, and the weather's just terrible. And then you land, and then I got the door down, and we wake Schrader up, and we get out, and Earl's like, give me a cigarette. I smoked then. Give me a cigarette and give me a beer. As soon as he – but it was fun times. Like I said, in our years, it has come – there's been so much fun. And then, I don't know, when they started fun sucking is when I started – that's when my attitude got bad.
That's when it went bad.
My attitude's been bad for quite some time.
When did you get hooked up with Biffle? Because obviously y'all had a hell of a long run together.
What was your last year with Schrader?
It was he was in Cup in 2000. It was before he went to BAM. He was still at the 36 car.
Yeah, because I started at 36. I don't know if
me and you didn't miss each other far there. So Biffle was running Xfinity, and Jack Roush was supposedly spotting for him, or Max, or one of them.
Max Jones.
Yeah. So Max Jones, great guy.
Yep.
But they did not have any. They went to Daytona, and Max did it, I guess. And I was spotting for Schrader in Cup at MB2. And then they asked me, Randy Goss, which I will get into him in a second too, because this is a bigger story. But they came up and said, would you consider spotting for Biffle? And I'm like, yeah, I don't care. And everybody's like, oh, man, you don't want this is awful. You don't want nothing to do with that. This guy's going to scream and yell. And I spotted for Biffle for 16 years, and we never had a cross word. We still go fishing together in Alaska once a year.
That's weird. I did one year. He yelled at me every week.
He was just mad at you because I'd done stupid got fired. It wasn't your fault. But, me and Biffle had a great run. Brett, we became greater friends because of that, because of him and Elliot, they shared a hangar or whatever, and we did a lot of flying together. But it's been a great deal. I've been fortunate to work with some great people. I mean, I started out with Jeff Gordon, and you're with Kawicki, and then Jeff Gordon, and I did a stint with the Krog brothers up at Junior Johnson's old shop, which was fun. And then you end up with Schrader. Like I said, it's just hard to. It's all fun, and then you get Biffle, who's pretty fun, and I mean, and then Almirola, which is probably the reason I'm still alive, is him, because he's the most down to earth. Kind of kept me in the road. I mean, when they did away with the private radio and then it went to the Channel 2 that everybody could hear, I'm not sure how I stayed in the sport. Because, yesterday I'm begging my guy to wreck the 3. And there's 4 laps to go in the race, you know what I mean, in this championship. But the 3 is just all over him. And I said, if he touches you, just please settle what he started 6 years ago when he turned us head on into the wall at the Daytona 500, when there was a lane on either side of us, and we were not blocking like you block.
Yeah.
You could go any way you wanted to. Instead, he runs into him and then turns him head on into the wall. And I've tried ever since then to make sure they rolled the top back on his car to get him out. And I could never talk him into it. So unsuccessfully. But I like the guy. I know that'll have to come out. Right?
No.
I'm good. You're good.
So what you're saying is you've had a little bit of a grudge.
Well,
not much of a grudge holder.
I'm going to tell you how calm Almirola is. It's not yesterday. It's every day. And it's the nature. It's why I'm probably going to do, if I do 2 cup races, great. But I'm going to do some Saturday stuff. I had an idea of doing some Friday stuff, which is a little bit more of a challenge because I tried it. And like you say, the race was 3 hours or something. And we ran the cup race in 3 hours. It's just a different mentality. The kids that are racing trucks are different. The product's great. The product on Saturday is phenomenal. Yeah. And then you get to Sunday and you're like, man, if we just qualified a little bit better, we would have been up front. But, we missed a little bit in qualifying. You can't pass nobody. When you catch somebody, they start that coaching and lane swapping and all that. So it's an absolute joke. Oh, I begged him all day to wreck the 22 yesterday. Because the crew chief's telling me what. And, it's Coleman's job, I guess, if that's the way you want to do your job. I don't do that. Yeah. There's a lot of things I don't do. Maybe why I'm not going to be a spotter anymore. Because now you have to have, like I own a damn iPhone, which I got on me somewhere. I got an iPad so I can watch
hockey.
Hockey and on the road, exactly. Freddie knows me. And we got a hockey story too. I can't even use the phone. I do the crew chief will say you're 24th. And I'll count them off, and we're 21st. So I do the old-fashioned way. I don't – lap times tell me in my left ear, and I'll tell him. Yeah.
I got my phone out. I don't know what you use.
Yeah,
I got a
tablet, but I just do timing and scoring on it.
Exactly.
It pops up a lap time of the leader and what I'm running, and that's kind of all I really do.
What I like the most about it is there's usually one where you can see, and there's only one feature on it that's worth a damn. Because yesterday's like a 3:12 lap race, and I'll be like, 50 to go, and the creature will be like, no, 62. Because I don't, when it's if it ain't a 400 or 500.
I do have a lap counter. The lap counter helps a bunch.
That's what I'm telling you.
That's what you need.
It says, to the end of the race, end of the stage, and I'm like, that's the only damn feature I needed right there. Well, so tell me when it's going to be over.
It does. The lap counter helps.
Because if it's stage racing or you're trying to get to, but now me and Freddie had a funny story this week. Like in the Xfinity, we're trying to get going, and he's a Rangers guy and I'm a Minnesota Wild guy. So we're playing each other, and my team is obviously Jeff Gluck knew about that because I heard he say he's mad at the Wild, he's mad at everybody last week.
I think if anybody that follows you on Twitter knows you're mad at the Wild.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to clean it up a little bit, but it probably won't work.
No, you're not.
So we're playing each other, and we're on a big skid, just awful. Well, like 3 minutes into the game, Freddie's spotting. I'm not paying attention to spotting. I'm hockeying, because C can pretty much handle himself out there. So I said, Freddie, it's 3-0. You on 4 shots. So Freddie just forgets about the hockey game.
I'm like, I'm good. We're up 3-0. It's over.
Yeah, and I didn't even tell you we pulled the goalie. I didn't even get to that part. Which they finally put Flurry in. It got a little better. So this goes on. We're whatever. I'm at dinner. And I text him, and I'm like, overtime. And I'm sure he thought, what the hell is he talking about?
I thought you were still there racing.
Is there a green light checkered? And then we end up winning the game in a shootout, which I appreciated the spare point because we've been suffering a little bit.
I was by the time you had texted me that we lost, I had probably just put this stupid gold chain on, and
which I really liked yesterday. I told you, I said, if that thing don't turn you green, bro,
I stole
you good.
this thing from Large from Barstool. He was I don't know if I stole it or he gave it to me. One of the two things. I woke up with it on Sunday. So
hey, it's like that box of beer. Free stuff's good.
Yeah,
Never
man. I'm hoping I'm going to sell it probably here. I'm sure it's worth a bunch of money. But yeah, I couldn't believe he texted me. We lost 5-4, up 3-0 in the first 5 minutes of the game.
So you're at the Barstool whatever dying deal, and I'm on top of my game. We go right around. Timmy, God bless him. I don't know how him, Andy Houston, and Joe Campbell have put up with me because y'all know how I am in like a 5-minute deal. Imagine being in a damn rental car with me.
Oh, I know.
After the race, and you get to pick the wrong lane, and they're shuffling by us on both sides. I'm like, can you get? Come on. And then you get there and you sit on the plane for 7 hours.
Oh, man.
We probably should start the show at this point.
Nah.
Is it still preliminary?
Oh, yeah.
We're still just.
Where's Custer at? Did he get like
we kicked him out. We heard you were on the way. We kicked him right out.
Oh, I bumped the guy. Well,
yeah, we had
biscuits.
Champ. Yeah, we had to get rid of the Champ for you. But, yeah. So, how was your race yesterday aside from trying to kill Austin Dillon?
Actually, we were really good. Like, we went out to practice for the 20 minutes or whatever. Or no, 50 minutes. Yeah, that was like took an extra battery this week. And we're dynamite. Like, we're with the 12. We passed the 12. He passed us. We, really good. Qualifying, what I'm saying, out there in Harvick goes to, like, top of the sheet. Well, when it comes to us, we, it felt great. It just wasn't great. 28th. But we methodically, after about 10 or so laps, were able to pass and got through some. And had the Rowdy not spun there at the end, we're going to run 10th. So that's a lot of cars. The boys were fantastic on pit road. But I'm telling you, Drew Blickensturfer, if that's how you say it. Hey,
that's it. You nailed it.
I did it. I thought I did it. I'm kind of cross-eyed right now because we flew all night. But he has put together, like that group, whoever's going to drive that car, I mean, everybody knows, but he's coming into something. If he's got his head screwed on right, that pit crew has been phenomenal. Drew's phenomenal. I'm leaving, so that's going to help.
That's a plus.
But they're a really good group, and and as you guys know, there's a lot of stuff going on over there. It's not going to that group could be the new forever with the 10 on. Forever. I mean, for tomorrow, whatever.
10 ever,
yeah, yeah. But it's a solid group, and there's a little bit of up and downs, and some stuff's going to change over there, or so they say. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, TJ, I don't know why you tried to crash me at the end of that race yesterday.
Yeah, that was we got bored.
God almighty.
Brad was really good. I mean, like
Brad
I saw
really
him
good.
coming early and often, because he come by a couple times.
Yeah,
but.
Yeah, we were pretty good from the back. We were probably gonna finish. We probably had a 7th to 10th place cars somewhere in there. Maybe a little bit better if we we couldn't fire off. We couldn't go the first 20 laps, but we were good in the long run. But long run speed nowadays doesn't really pay off.
No, because it's so hard to pass everywhere, really. But it's just you can't forfeit, and that's why you see guys. We were talking about Ross racing hard, blocking. Because if you could block a guy for 5 or 10 laps, keep him behind you, you don't know that it's going to flip eventually, and you're going to drive away from him probably. So you saw that yesterday, and like even if you're better on the long run, it's still going to take you. You're going to use your up trying to pass one guy. It's going to take you 10 laps to get around him.
If you can do it for 2 laps, the guy can run. You can run a guy down, and if you can just take his line away for 2 laps, then he's 7 back, and he never gets any closer.
Yeah.
And I think that's why some of these guys are not going to race on Sunday.
I
know it's not fun. You could see. You just see how much fun Cole Custer and them guys have racing those cars on Saturday. And this other deal, it's tough. It's tough on us. It's changed everything.
I'll tell you what ain't tough on y'all. After 25 years going on the roof, I saw y'all got some shade.
It was nice.
They were throwing a little shade at me and you probably. Phoenix does it right. I mean, it was either sandwiches or T-shirts. They've got. They were the first ones to They tell us everywhere we can't have bathrooms, and they got this. 400 feet in the air there probably.
They
got 4 porta-johns sitting on the roof,
and they're nice,
cleaner than the bathroom in my house.
Yeah,
and got spotters only on it, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And then coolers full of water, T-shirts, sandwiches.
Yeah, like it's always been. It's had all the amenities we've ever needed.
Unbelievable. It's in an unbelievably bad spot. But for where they put it, they do get the stuff.
I mean,
for us.
the amenities are amazing.
Thanks to Rocky, we never got. I thought we were moving. I love Rocky. He come by and see me last week.
I saw Rocky.
He was giving pats.
Shout out though. Don't let me butcher this name. Latasha Causey, right?
Yeah,
I
heard she showed up before the race too. Right?
She
Yeah,
came
she
by.
came up
She
there
said hi
and-
to everybody. I didn't see her. I was probably a little.
You
late.
know what is even bad? Like they come up there and asked if they could do even more to make it better. Like not just here's your roof, be quiet. It was or here's some shade, be quiet.
I even heard they said they were going to put a little thing
Yeah.
off the
So
back.
so we have this amazing shade, right? They put it above our heads.
Yeah.
And obviously, being the smart asses that we are, me and Herm were talking, and I said, "Well, I mean, it doesn't no good. The damn sun's right here." It's nice, So I was 100% joking. I was like, "Man, this is awesome," because you can still feel a difference even if it's not blocking the sun directly.
All afternoon.
Yeah.
10 degrees cooler,
And
15
then,
degrees cooler.
at least.
And then Spotter Julie came up and was hanging out for the bit. And she's like, "Yeah, we're gonna block this backside off too because the sun's obvious." I'm like,
Yeah.
holy shit!" Like,
And it's really they've done a lot. That's a tough spot for them. There's really nowhere they could move us. They move us, around the front like 10 guys want, and then you can't see pit road at all if you're down the back part of it or whatever. They really got what they got there, and they've moved some of the campers down in, I guess, 1 and 2 now.
Yeah, it's
that's
1 and
helped
2.
us some.
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is, and that's what's one of the great challenges of what we do. They're all not the same.
Did they at least work with us?
Oh yeah,
And try. So that's one of my favorite places to go as far as
and we just did it
facility-wise
with Frank Kelleher and Chip were on the roof at Homestead.
Yeah.
And they were like, "What can we do to make this better?" And there's a railing that does that covers half the roof, and we're like, TJ's like, "Can you put a railing all the way so we can hook our radios and stuff or whatever?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, piece of cake, that's no problem." So they're like, Chip comes up a lot now, and
since he's got involved away from one track and does more stuff at all the tracks, a lot of stuff's got better.
Yeah.
And Chip's a good guy. He's one of them that stuff will show up and it's probably from him, and he's not trying to get credit for it, like the food or the ice cream or the whatever. Here.
Yeah, usually Frank does them sandwiches started showing up at Daytona, those box lunches. And Frank.
Well, I'm just glad y'all
Frank's
got
been doing
shade.
that.
Well, the shade's great.
It's a big deal.
We made it through Homestead this year. I mean, you got muffins, you got coffee. The nicest, I want to buy that Porta-John and take to my place in Minnesota.
That is
one
a
is
nice Porta-John.
That thing is phenomenal.
it looks like a bathroom.
Where was the guy this year? I don't even know who the guy is that chewed our ass out last year on the roof. It
I
comes
didn't
up
see
and they
him.
want to be outside for like 7 seconds. He's talking about how hot it was.
I didn't see him this year.
And then they gave T-shirts, and then we got hot dogs a week after that. But he come up. Somebody. So who does he work for?
I think he's still around somewhere.
I mean, he chewed everybody's ass. He didn't want to be outside. I don't want to be out here in this heat. I mean, it's amazing. I don't know how. It's kind of like you weren't very good at your job, so now you just run this deal. How about that?
We've seen a bunch of people that way, though, in this sport.
It happens at race teams. It happens at all levels.
I feel like
I feel
like a crew chief.
There's a team president, though, that I'm not lying to y'all. Like, he would get fired, or he would become team president, run the race team out of business, and then go to the next team and get a raise and a bigger house, and then run that one out of business. And, I mean, it just kept going.
I don't remember the last time I saw a crew chief get fired. Has a crew chief ever been fired, or
No.
get repositioned?
They move them to a different. All they do is
Competition
go
director or
another
something.
level up in the stairs. You never see them again.
Special projects manager.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff they can just give.
Well,
you
that's not really true.
I bet you, and I'm not saying these guys should have been let go or fired, because a guy like Kenny Francis, I wouldn't let him leave my company if you paid me to let him leave. But I bet you Hendrick Motorsports has a dozen former Cup crew chiefs standing in their race shop Monday morning that don't even travel anymore.
It's very strange that once a change is made and you bring up the guy from the trucks or Xfinity or whatever, that the other guy just is all of a sudden over something that didn't exist last week. Hey, now I'm looking after what's.
You're the director of competition, a mile and a half races.
There's some kind of building down here in the shop nobody's using, but I'm gonna go make sure what's going on down there. And then, like the war room, I think either like the engineer yesterday told me I could come down to do the war room. Since I'm not, he said, because you can see some stuff and do some stuff, and I said, well, I think I could spot from the war room. I mean, for enough money. And I don't know. The war room's probably a little bit much for me because I would show up in full camouflage.
Well, what's weird is RCR won the race a couple of years ago from the war room.
Yeah.
They were making the call from the pit strategy perspective there. So
well, the war room is kind of like when the crew chief was suspended at Rockingham, and you look up and he's in row 2. He's in the spotter stand, or he's in the stands. Yeah. So, but the war room's gotten pretty good. I mean, they can talk. There's so much that goes on that I can't hear. That's another reason I'm quitting. They all talk on the intercoms and all this other stuff, and I'm like,
I never. Anytime anybody asks me how Bubba's doing in practice, I'm like, I have no idea because he don't say shit about it on the radio.
Says anything.
He comes in pit road.
All we hear is
silence.
coming to you.
Yeah,
and then
coming
we
to you,
find them a
spotter.
hole and, and they don't. That's the thing. 33 years in this sport, 25 years spotting, and they say coming to you, spotter. I don't give a damn which team it is.
Yeah.
If it's your cup team, your truck team, your ARCA, new team, nobody know the spotter's name.
No.
Coming to you, spotter.
I said kind of 10-4 truck driver or crew driver, whoever it is. I got your crew guy.
Nah, they're great. I mean, it's great. That is one of the best jobs in racing, and it it's funny because it's 80 days really anymore if you don't do any Xfinity practice and I started working for free, like I told y'all, and I won't do it for $175,000 now. So what's that tell you?
It's time to go, brother.
Yeah,
It's time to go.
it's going to be better for everybody else.
Speaking of time to go, Andrew, start the show.
Let's throw in the spot on, spot off
Now we've
from
been
what
here
we
for 2
haven't
hours.
covered yet. We covered a little bit of the truck race, but this first spot on, spot off topic, Tony Stewart calls the truck race a show. We have a bunch of other quotes, and we actually have a clip of Tony talking about it.
Any of these young kids, tonight's the example that you want to go off of, not last night. That was an S show last night.
S show.
And the scary part, and I had conversations with people today about it, and what scares me is these kids watch that and think that that's what they're supposed to do. And you go to go-kart races and kids' parents are fighting because one kid's dumping another kid because that's what they see on TV. And tonight was a great example that that's not how you have to race. You can race clean, you can race door to door, you can race hard, but you can race each other with respect. And I think that's the Truck Series has a 0% amount of it.
Obviously, we touched on a lot of what happened in the truck race already, but we have not touched on Corey Heim, Carson, Hocevar, but spot on, spot off on Tony's quote there.
I'm spot on. We've talked about it before. We've said the Truck Series has changed, and it has a lot. It's not as much fun. It doesn't have, when Brad had his truck teams and Ryan Blaney was in them, there was a lot more respect back then when you had in the Truck Series, and it just seems like it's progressively gotten worse.
Yeah. I mean, I tweeted the other night. It was, and Carson, like, God almighty. Like, we just talked. We've been singing his praises here for about a month and a half, 2 months.
Brett had got back on board.
About Brett.
I had a T-shirt
Brett
on.
had the T-shirt on. I saw him I was like, my goodness. But he just screwed up. And I saw it coming. Like, you saw the lap before. And listen.
Oh, yeah.
Here's where it is. The 11 was the best truck. It was pretty clear all night long. He was the best truck. I thought that I was curious, like the strategy, the way it played out, made it a little more interesting, obviously, and because I was like, man, he might be in trouble here because a lot more trucks did that flipping of the stage than
He
I
was
think
further
they were
back on that restart.
I think he was further back than he wanted to be, but he was still going to win. And now, I mean, the 42 wasn't very good. I mean, they were probably third or fourth best truck of the playoff guys, and the 11 catches him, runs him down, catches him, passes him, and you're like, you know what? I still got a set of tires laying in there. I'm beat right now. Like, at that point, you just, hey, all right, it is what it is.
There's going to be 37 more cautions, so if I just bide my time.
I still got time here. But what happens is you see he's blocking the shit out of him as he catches him. Then as soon as he catches him, he's trying to pack air, and then he dives into 3 and loses the nose. Or sorry, dives into 1. I'm still back racing there 5 years ago.
I did that 7 times yesterday.
I never got used to it.
So and he slides across the apron and cleans him out. It's like, my God.
Did he get tight? Did he get to the gas too soon? Did he do it on purpose?
On the replay,
Which one are you picking?
I think I saw Corey wiggle a little bit, and because Corey definitely entered in a lane that he wasn't really wanting to enter in to try to protect him, and I think Carson was going to be so close at any point, any little slip or anything, they're going to hit. I don't know if Carson went in there necessarily to turn him right away, but I think that slip there gave him an opportunity to hit him. I don't think he wanted to wreck him, but he did.
I don't think it was intentional, but
No.
it's just.
But it happened.
Yeah, like that was the only way you were going to get back in front of him, and then, like it's just his track record doesn't matter if it's intentional or not because it looks intentional.
I agree. I think it probably wasn't intentional, but like you look up at one point yesterday when Ross is just all over the 12, like if you don't let me lead, I'm going to wreck you. And finally, he just lets him go and goes to third. I mean, nobody's watching their cars. We're all looking at that. I don't mean to get off topic, but I saw Sacco come scream at McReynolds.
I mentioned that earlier before
Because
you got
NASCAR
here, so I'm glad you're
was in
backing
Sacco's
me
ear
up.
going to calm him down, maybe to keep the Hocevar thing from happening.
They wanted Ross to calm down.
Because Ross, they're not saying anything to the 12 that I can see. Yeah, I'll take one. I'm about out over here. Sorry, I didn't mean to get off on. I didn't even know.
No. So
Well, yeah.
listen, I don't think
we're still there to win the race. I wanted to win that race just like you did.
Oh, we fought, we battled.
Yeah.
Because you guys drove up to us a couple times and.
Yeah, I mean we're all there to win, right?
We raced clean.
I
You
look
weren't
back-
blocking me. I wasn't blocking you.
look back
I
at this
like
truck series thing though, which turned into a complete debacle. We all agree that was a debacle. But the Carson thing, listen, nobody was more vocally against how he was racing and how he was acting and the things he was doing on a racetrack than I was. I burnt the guy to the ground. And then
I loved it.
he-
I mean, I'm normally don't say much, but
Yeah,
that
right.
when that was going on, I was liking.
I mean, because it was every week he was doing it, right? And then it's like he admits it. Okay, I have a problem, and then he comes on here and he talks about his problem.
Yeah.
And you can tell that he realizes I have got to make progress in this area, or no one's going to hire me eventually. This is going to be my way out of the sport if I don't fix it. When Dale Jr. sits me down, the first thing he says to me is, "You ain't going to wreck my cars, are you?" That's the first words out of his mouth.
Well,
Like,
it was the same conversation that the guy. What's the guy that drives the one again?
Ross.
Ross was going to have
yeah.
yesterday had he messed with the 12, because he got talked to at some point. Remember, and then he started running like he had a plug wire off.
Darlington.
Right, and then he comes on and is doing great yesterday, but then he's trying to run over one of the championship guys. And I'm not saying he's not supposed to race,
right.
but if he wrecks the 12 yesterday with 75 laps to go or 175 to go, just being a you're back at square one, getting talked to, and then you got a whole half season to try to put that back together, in my opinion.
I just think that Carson needs a mentor, and maybe he has one, but I think he needs a full-time mentor.
Hey, I'm
You're available.
I'm gonna go, yeah.
He needs somebody.
I don't think that's going to help.
He needs somebody. Listen, Carson, he's obviously got Tyler Green going with him to the Cup Series. Tyler Green leaving Harrison Burton Penske Racing to go to Spire Motorsports. Like, Tyler has got to wear this guy out next year and remind him several times during the race when he sees him get in a position where, A, he could do something stupid, or B, he could lose his temper. You can't do this right here. Because now Carson is almost back. I don't think he's back fully at square one because the four of us just said we don't know that he wrecked him on purpose. But nonetheless, he wrecked the guy that's leading the championship in a situation where there's only two of you really in contention to win it.
When we were watching it, I don't think any of us were surprised that it happened.
No.
Like,
You
I
saw
mean,
it coming for 2 laps.
You could see the way he was driving. It was like
You can see him
yeah.
entering the corner and know that they're
Yeah,
going a little too far.
You knew that the chance was pretty high.
Well,
of it
something
happening.
happened a half a lap before, right, where they kind of were running each other.
yeah.
They were jimmy jacking.
Yeah, they were definitely.
And they said cut that out, didn't they?
They always knock off the Jimmy.
But I truly think, and I'm gonna die on the sword, fall on the sword, I guess. I don't think Carson Hocevar is nowhere near done fixing himself, but he has to give himself the tools this winter to fix himself before he gets to Daytona. Because if he does this dumb shit in the draft in the Daytona 500, if he does this dumb shit at Atlanta the following week when they're in the draft, 3-wide running 185 miles an hour in a one, if he does this dumb shit at the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th race of the year, he's going to get crucified. He has got to do what Ty Gibbs did. Do you agree that Ty Gibbs had a reputation of being a little spoiled
Yes.
and racing like a complete idiot?
Yes.
And he's fixed
and
a
Ryan
lot of
Sieg
that.
agrees too, because I had to go to the truck for that.
He's fixed a lot of that perception this year, though,
He
as a
has.
rookie, because he
And
didn't
I
race
think
like a fool.
I think he's getting a mentor there's somebody that's going to show up over there and do some mentoring for him.
There is.
Maybe a while. It's your, I mean, you got to have that. And believe it or not, I was that guy like 25 years ago.
Must have been a long time ago.
Well, maybe 50 years ago. But like when everybody knows the Harvick, Biffle, Bristol Saturday deal when Greg got into him and turned him head on into the wall. And I mean, I ain't been spotting for Greg for a month or two. And I'm like, hey, man, that's a little bit aggressive. He's like, well, I think he let off. And I'm like, but good grief. The guy hit the wall head on. I mean, we were running all over him. It was kind of like we'd let him go, and then we got back to him, and Harvick was struggling to get off the corner. But there was a time when I was calm and was trying to get him not to wreck people. Because when I got Greg, he was pretty raw and always flying into trouble and doing this and that. And he got a little better, Kurt and him, but they'd still wreck each other. And I miss the days, like I said, I was trying to get you can't do that anymore because they got you stirring trace. They got me up there running my mouth. I mean, it's all, and then you go to jail on Tuesday.
Yeah, and to that point, I tweeted this the other night. I think Heim obviously his truck was screwed up from the contact with Friesen after he spun, and he's nowhere near as fast as he was.
Right.
And Carson goes to the outside of him and he wrecks him. And obviously Corey can't say it publicly. Yeah, I wrecked him because he wrecked me. Him or whatever. But it's pretty clear and obvious what happened there. And I think, in my opinion, that's way worse than what Carson did. First of all,
it is change the outcome.
First of all, Carson is villain number one. Carson is the bad guy. This whole story right now, and now you just gave up all of your moral high ground to stuff him in the wall. And now you cost Grant Enfinger an opportunity at a championship. He's in position to win. Don't know if the yellow doesn't come out for something else, but he's going to win the championship if that thing stays green. So now you cost him a championship, but you also just take, you get if obviously you're pissed off. Like I'd be irate myself. Just get out and beat the guy's ass, or handle it however you want. But now you're affecting the outcome of the championship. You're doing the same thing that Carson did.
And you always drag somebody else in. It was like with the deal with the Gibbs and Sieg at Vegas. When he tried to take a shot at him and kind of missed, and then wrecked a couple other people, and then I got to stay 4 more hours and Wayne Otten, chewed my ass or whatever. But you never can, like you say. I think the best way to handle that is in the coach lot or at Big Al's or something.
The only thing that I think is the only. I mean, I don't want to. It's a terrible move on Corey's part. You shouldn't have done it, but he probably cost Carson the championship because Carson had tires and was coming. And I think if they get a restart, he's probably going to pass them other two guys.
Yeah.
So I mean, I hate to say it,
and
but it just turned into a disaster.
They don't want something that change. The best part about I'm going to get it way off topic here. The best part about championship weekend is the tower like it don't exist because they don't say which makes it way easier, because they're not trying to manipulate or they're not looking for debris or they're not trying to. Which is the exact opposite of like Talladega. So when we spot Talladega, we have to be way more on our game than anything else. But what are they going to do every time we cross the stripe? They're like, new leader, the 6. Mm-hmm. The next lap, new leader, the 10. New leader, the 6. So you got this going on in your head that does not matter. But the best thing about Phoenix is they don't say anything the whole weekend. They kind of let the races play out. Sorry for getting on a different page. We should have put that toward the bottom.
But my question is, so Corey wrecks him, right? So he's out there now. He's floundering around. He's a lap down. He gets his lap back.
And we got a caution.
Caution comes out. Why is he? Because now here's a scenario. Carson's out of the race. He's done. The 11's back there in the back. The last 2 laps, or the last lap, Enfinger's all over the 99. Like, if you don't park the 11 and Enfinger somehow wrecks the 2 of them, you're going to let the 11 win the championship after he just stuffed the guy in the wall intentionally? Like, this, I mean, I almost wish that happened. Like, I was telling somebody on Friday night, I'm like, I wish that Grant would have, because Grant took a shot.
Could you imagine Tony's post if that had happened?
Because Grant, I mean, I'll give Grant credit because Grant could have wrecked him. He drove into 3. And I'm like, oh, he squared him up. He's gonna hit him, and he kind of like let it run up the hill and didn't
let up and didn't even graze him.
Yeah.
And guys race like that.
But if he would have wrecked him and the 11 would have won a championship at that point, I mean,
I think that Ty Gibbs ran slower this year than he would have run if he had the same mindset as last year. But he cleaned up his brand. He cleaned up his reputation. He gained some respect from his fellow competitors that are out there. And if Carson starts his year off next year in the Cup Series, he's skipping Xfinity. He's going straight to the big boys. You know, he's going to a team that obviously is growing, a team that is getting better, a team that's spending a lot of money. He better not race like a fool.
Sunday is way different than Saturday.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like Pee Wee League versus NHL. And, I mean, a lot of people don't – you know, the only guy that could never do it on Saturday that could do it on Sunday was Jimmy Johnson. But a lot of them have been able to do it on Saturday that never had a shot on Sunday.
This will be my tell-all. Ross Chastain got here, and he did a lot of the things that we give Carson crap about, and he got away with it, and he flipped all y'all off, said, I don't care. He just said it this morning on our show, I don't care. Like, Carson, I feel like he's more hated by the way he races. Like, I think Ross is perceived as Ross is racing for his team, and he's being very selfish. People look at Carson and go, he's racing like an idiot. He's got to stop.
Well, I saw a Ross tweet or maybe a Bob Parker or something last night when I was flying home about the racing that was going on with him in the 12, and he's like, I didn't give a damn then, and I don't give a damn now.
Yeah.
But if he'd have, you can say that after the fact that it turns out good and you didn't run over your neighbor's sprinkler system. But had that turned out a different way,
he'd have cared.
He'd have been back to that. Well, and I need therapy.
And there's guys.
There's 2 or 3 of us that could get it this winter.
If you listen to Denny's podcast, he talked about how stupid he raced last week when he wrecked Ty Gibbs in 1 and 2. You see guys like Reddick tweeting, "This dumbass is never going to learn."
Oh, I missed that one. Did he say something?
Oh, yeah. I think you quoted. I think you retweeted it.
I almost had another poll. I almost had another poll, but I mean, why are you? What are you doing?
But that just goes to show you, like, these guys, if they have this opinion of you coming in, they are going to make your life miserable because in this Cup car, you can determine how everything goes. Like, you can.
If I don't want to let you buy, you're
not getting by.
It's a different animal. That Cup car is a different car to drive, and you're going to come in there, and these guys know exactly where to be, exactly how to push the buttons to make it super hard on you.
It's like my poll last week. It was nothing against that guy.
Are you sure?
But there's some people that just race off the corner. I've never driven a car, but I guarantee you I can keep you from passing me. I did drive a show car for a little bit, and I betted in some brakes one time for Derek Cope at Martinsville, which was the scariest day of my life. But you got to show some. I mean, it's bad. The Sunday product's bad. That's why I'm gonna fish on Sunday. Drink on Sundays, fish on Sundays.
Probably do a little bit of both. I'm sure.
There you go.
Next topic, spot on, spot off. Justin Allgaier said he'd rather spin himself than get into John Hunter Nemechek. That was really early in the race. Would you say Allgaier's lack of aggression there may have cost him a chance at running the championship?
No, I think that's the way you're supposed to race. We saw these guys, like I said, they were 4 wide off of turn 2. Coming to the white flag, the 4 championship guys, and they all managed. I think the 20 might have had an issue. I heard he might have had a right front tire going down.
Yeah.
But and you've seen, we gave Cole credit earlier for this, Joel, that he has a bad restart. He lets the 7 get to the outside, and more other people in that position would have probably freaked out, drove into turn 1, and probably wrecked himself and the 7. And Cole just went in there. He got his entry right and got a good run off the corner.
They don't call him Stone Cold for nothing. I'm telling you, I spotted for that kid about 4 years back, and he should have won a championship. Then he won like 9 races, one of them deals where they didn't call him in at the right time at Homestead. But when I looked up getting into 1, he was like 9th.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Then I went back to Sieg for a second because we were like 12th or something. And then I look up off of 2, and he's leading. And I'm like, if he don't blow the corner down here or somebody don't just send him. But I don't know what he did. It was kind of like what Tony's other comment was, or on Twitter. He's like, I don't know what moves you made or whatever you done, but it was unbelievable. But yeah. I love that kid. I spotted for him. It's tough. You think about it. It's like you play baseball and your dad's a coach, or you're.
Yeah, you're not kidding.
It's tough on him. I think he would. Maybe another year in Xfinity, and he comes back and could be a big-time Cup guy but the hard part is your dad's in the building. And that's always a shadow. You know, that's a tough deal. I mean, if he went to front row.
I was gonna say, what if he gets an offer to go somewhere else?
Hey, if I'm Brad
Kyle Petty left
Keselowski,
Richard.
if I'm Brad Keselowski, that guy's on my list for about 2 years from now. I don't know how long Brad's going to race. I hope he races 10 more years if he wants to. But I'd be looking at Cole Custer, because if he got out from under that that deal he's under, I think the sky's the limit. He lost a lot of his confidence. You know, the first 2 years we were at Stewart-Haas Racing, the cars were really good, Eric. Just done a lot of stuff. You know, you were there then.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this stuff was phenomenal. We'd show, I mean, hell, we won a damn restrictor plate race 300 yards in front of everybody. That is unheard of. And then the stuff kind of got bad, and he got in there, and he won a restart. You know, and I think he's a great driver, great kid, but it's tough to do with your dad there. You know what I mean? And I got nothing against Joe Custer. We never had a fallout ever.
Austin Cindric is going to face the same conversations next year that you're talking about Custer had to face last year. And it is Austin Cindric comes in, he wins a Daytona 500. Boom, good for you. That buys you some time.
Yeah.
Holy cow, this year, I mean, they've struggled.
It don't buy you the time it used to.
Your
Derek
teammate
Cope won that 500, and
Yeah.
it bought him 20 years. It don't buy you 20 years anymore.
Your
It's
teammate,
like 18 months.
Your teammate won 3 races. Your teammate won the championship if you're Austin Cindric.
You're a lap down to end the first stage, so what? Yeah.
I'm bringing up this to the point of your dad's in the building. It changes the optics real quick.
100%.
It makes it harder, way harder.
And I mean, a lot of these people don't have to worry about sponsors or anything, and not saying nothing against Austin Cindric. I mean, but he has to race really hard to hold you off, you know, with the same stuff that them guys. I mean, it's like me and you. We fish, and we've got the same rod and reel, you know, and Freddie's catching all the fish. We know we f***ing up.
Yeah, if we sitting on the same boat, he's catching all this.
TJ, I know you fish too. I didn't mean to leave you out.
I listen. The last time I went fishing, I think it was with Charlie Brock.
That's a damn good fisherman right there.
Yeah, well, the problem is by the time me and this other guy, Billy Friedel, I don't know.
I know Billy.
Well, we got the boat parked and anchored down or whatever, and Charlie had already fished a hole out with 7 different rods.
Yeah.
He'd be like, all right, next hole. We're like,
Yeah, we're moving.
Yeah,
He's
like, what?
I'm trying to push
Dude,
my button here to get
he
going.
got on the boat with a one of them bags with a bunch of poles, and they were already set up. Me and Billy are just kind of casual, get out there.
Back here
Snoopy.
tying.
Yeah.
Snoopy
Trying to
pole.
tie shit
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
Yeah.
Charlie had everything fished out.
Cast and
like-
shoot.
Yeah, so Charlie really. I won't go fishing with Charlie.
He's a
much
good
anymore.
dude. He was on
Yeah,
that
oh, yeah.
MB2 deal back when I was on.
A lot of
way
good
back.
guys there
Yeah.
then.
Oh yeah, and I mean that's Red Farmer's grandson. You know, so whether he likes racing or not, it's running through his veins.
That's
so he
some
can't
of the
get away
most
from
fun that I've had was MB2.
it was a
Schrader
good
bought
deal.
us lunch every Wednesday.
Schrader. I'm telling you, that could be a whole nother. I may have to
I
come
know.
back to him for
Hey,
another day. Have you ever had him on?
No, he's been on Dale's show.
Yeah.
I saw that, and I did cry because I was around with Schrader a lot, and I heard a lot of the stories he was telling Dale about, you know, that the stuff that it was not told. Me and Schrader were tight enough to where he would tell me stuff, you know, in confidence, and you would just, you know, like, man, I don't know how you deal with
Yeah.
this, you know, because like, you know, Dale knows he saw stuff nobody else in this country will ever see, you know, but there's no better person.
I think
We
we've
know
all
that.
kind of had a relationship with some of our drivers that, like you and Elliot, were really close, and I've been lucky to be close with a lot of my drivers, with Dale Jr.
Absolutely.
and Brad and
Logano.
stuff. Yeah, super close.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm sorry, I was looking at my
Close
phone
as
for
me and
something.
Austin Dillon. Come on.
Good buds.
So you're going to RCR next year on your part-time gig?
I didn't mean for that to get out today. I'm not. I mean, my part-time deal is, I think, will be okay as long as that company just stays off my Twitter account. I think if they get into that,
Hopefully they don't listen to DVC often.
yeah.
or-
I mean, it's a different atmosphere, but it'll be good. I got 2 or 3 different plans.
yeah, you'd be all right.
We'll close off with one more spot on, spot off. Steve Phelps had the State of the Sport press conference earlier this weekend in Phoenix. Jeff Gluck has a great thread of like all the interesting, most important things he said. But in regards to like TV viewership, which this season was down 5%, he said if you consider back in March we were down 15% and now down mid-single digits, we're happy with where that is. Spot on, spot off on Steve Phelps' comments there.
I break our fan base into 3 tiers. I break it into to the person that has to watch racing. And I say that if you live with Joel and Joel watches every race and you're Joel's wife, you're going to have to watch racing. You're going to be a casual fan. And then I think the secondary fan is a second tier up from that is you love one driver and you're going to follow the sport as long as you have that one driver. But when that one driver, doesn't qualify well or gets in an early wreck, you turn the channel off. And then I think you got the hardcore fan, which is who listens to our show, that follows all 3 series a little bit, consumes some digital social media during the week, and they're going to watch that truck race or that cup race rather come hell or high water. That is your hardcore fan. We've alienated that fan for whatever reason. And I feel like they've made a transition to try to get that fan back in the last couple years. And I feel like now what we can't have happen, and listen, we're not the WWE, despite what some of these conspiracy theory people think, but we cannot have Chase Elliott, our biggest star, running 25th at Phoenix in the championship race a lap down. We can't have him missing the playoff. We can't have him not win a race all year when his teammates, to your point, they won 10 races. Alex Bowman had issues. He broke his back. I didn't expect that guy to come back and set the world on fire. But we've got to have our stars be stars. And right now, I don't know why, but that's not the case.
Yeah, I actually think this is going to help. I think Ryan Blaney winning the championship. I think a lot of those hardcore fans are fans of Ryan Blaney. And Ryan, I remember one quote that Ryan had coming into the 600 week, and you're like, hey, Ryan, how do you prepare for this race? Well, he's like, well, I drink less beer this week,
Yeah.
That's like,
me too. He's probably lying.
So, but like, I think Ryan is very, I think we're getting ready to see a lot of good interviews with Ryan in the next week or two.
I was going to say, what kind of champion is he going to be all winner? And what kind of champion is Penske going to let him to be? Roger Penske, Joel knows this. Listen, he would walk up to guys in the garage. I saw it happen with my own eyes. Not Roger himself, but one of the managers at Penske handed a razor to the guy I was talking to and said, Roger's coming today. You might want to get that scruff off your face. That dude walked into the bathroom at Michigan and shaved. Now Blaney's got this big playoff beard. Like he's obviously, Brad got there and wore jeans or whatever. Penske's a different animal.
Well, the IndyCar deal, like when I worked at Cal Wells for a little stretch, when he left there and came here, and we'd get on the plane and all dressed alike, like we were scouts. I don't think you say Cub Scouts, Boy Scouts, whatever. Like, we all looked the same when we got off the plane. Indy does that. They all, and it's kind of a weird, it's like the spotters. Some of them wear full-fledged, you'd think they were pit crew. And like me, I'm a Jiffy Lube. I got a shirt on that's plain because I learned a long time ago. Like Hedlesky, he was up there in a
tight jeans.
He kind of had some skinny jeans, but he had him a hat on, Carl or whatever, and maybe just a polo that said Office Depot or something on it. They wrecked Dale Jr. at Talladega. We're going down the elevator. I said, "Hey, boss, when you get to the ground level down here, they're gonna cut your head off. You might want to give a hat away." So I always just look like a fan. I wear T-shirts, plus that stuff's, and I mean the all black.
Yeah, we're really not.
I don't understand. I mean, maybe that's my new gig is to come up with cooler spotter.
Have you worn your cool shirt? Did you bring your cool shirt out yet?
No, I was going to. I should have brought it to Miami.
Shirt?
Yeah.
After I quit, you come up with some like this.
Well, I mean, they sent it to me to try, and it's going to get a good workout next year.
Shade, cool
Hey,
shirts.
Listen, man, I got one for Herm, too, so I got to keep Herm cool.
Oh, they make a extra large.
Yeah, something like that, plus
the
2.
The thing, listen, and, he talks about we had a bigger drop in the beginning of the year, 15%. You know why? Guess who wasn't there in the beginning of the year? Chase Elliott, because that was the second or third race when he broke his leg?
It's kind of like golf. When Tiger Woods took about 10 years off, how much golf was everybody watching?
Yeah.
I mean, you have to have that person, whether you like him or not. I mean, it's like Denny. If Denny leaves, it's going to get worse because they boo him.
Yeah.
I mean, just like yesterday, Denny, and I didn't know what was going on. I thought that because Bubba was introduced right after Denny, so it was like mass chaos.
It was a
long
double
boo.
It was a long boo session.
Yeah, it was.
Because like Freddie, me and Freddie was talking about something, and he's like, "Oh, here comes this is going to be bigger because there went Denny. We're next."
If they're booing you, you're doing something right.
Exactly, like Earnhardt always said, as long as they're making noise.
Even Ross. I mean, we talked about Ross on the show for a month and a half straight. Like Ross, you see more Ross Chastain shirts out there because of that run that he was on there.
Well, he was getting booed, and now he's getting cheered. The Hell Melon changed the game.
Even before that, when he was ruffling feathers, and he wasn't backing down. Like but he was getting booed for.
There's still a blue collar fan base out here that somebody like Ross can appeal to. A farmer,
which is great.
Oh, it's freaking necessary.
Awesome.
We can't have a bunch of spoiled kids coming up.
If they were all the same, relatable. It wouldn't be fun if everyone was the same.
I hate, I don't want to say I hate this because it's a strong word, but this State of the Union deal that they do at the end of the year, it just seems like a chest pounding. They talk about how great everything is, and it's not. I don't understand why we can't just be honest. There's things that aren't good.
Our short track program is awful.
Yes.
I mean, it's
just
terrible.
come out and say it.
So we either need to take this. Let's just get Xfinity cars and run them at the short track. Something, because the fix is not a diffuser. It's not a half-inch on the spoiler. It's not a window net. I mean, let the teams. Get the teams involved, because obviously it ain't these IMSA people or whatever this car or wherever this thing come from. Get somebody that knows something about racing.
Yeah.
And say fix this.
I mean, even if we look back, all right, if I told you guys 18 months ago that GMS and KBM are not going to be out of business at the end of right now, would you have said, "Oh, you're spot on. That's going to happen"?
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't have thought it.
You'd have never thought it. And so you look at, Ron Hornaday was on my flight last night. He's on the red-eye flight. I didn't get a chance to say hello to him, but nonetheless, you look at that guy and you think, man, Hall of Famer, one of the best racers to ever drive in the Truck Series. When the Truck Series was a formidable platform to come in and prove yourself,
he was the man.
He was the man. Jack Sprague, he was the man.
Skinner,
Mike Skinner, yeah. But where is that in that series right now? We don't have that. As a matter of fact, we have two teams going out of business. We had that team a few years ago that won the championship. I want to say it was with Musgrave that went out of business.
Ultra
Motorsports. The same year they won the champ. We have got to give that lower series the ability to be more sustainable than what it is right now.
There's about 4 people. If you lose them, that series is gone. You lose Duke Thorson, and Duke's about like me. I don't know if you know who he is on Twitter, but he's got his own kind of funny account, but you lose him. You got a guy like that that's dragging so much money around and got the big sponsors and bringing kids in, bringing this in, and he's one of them guys too that don't care if you got money. No. I got $4 million, but I'm an asshole. He's like, you ain't driving my truck.
That is true.
And like you say, you lose a GMS. How many trucks they have? 2 or 3 or something?
Yeah.
And so you can't have these losses. It's like if you start running off. If JR Motorsports gets out of Xfinity and about 2 more, what are you going to do with that?
Yeah. Yeah, it's wild. I heard rumors this week that McAnally's going to kind of step in and maybe absorb a lot of the GMS stuff.
I've heard some of that. It sounds like he's got some bigger plans.
Yeah, that'd be good. That's one of my favorite owners I worked for. I worked for him for a while, spotting for Krause and some other guys over there. So
I did a one-off something out in Sonoma or something, help somebody. Nicest guy you'll ever meet.
Yeah.
Just super guy.
Yeah, I've done a few things with him and always really enjoyed
He
working
walks
with
right
him.
up to that spotter stand in Sonoma with cash. That's my favorite part about him.
Yeah. They ain't nothing better than seeing him come unless you see Rod
Sieg.
and that backpack and that grin. Funny thing, we're on the spotter stand Friday. And it's an odd weekend. We got more practice or whatever. So we're doing, I think, cup practice was right after Xfinity practice. And I turn around and Rod's there about 20 minutes into cup practice, and he hands me 8 envelopes, from 4 from last week and 4 for this week to pay up,
Yeah.
That's like going to the casino.
Oh, yeah. And, it's just like this. And then I'm looking for, cover. And Rod's like, when do we qualify? I said, Rod, tomorrow, bud. You done? He's like, what? He starts cussing because he could have been gone.
He thought he was qualifying.
But, yeah, Rod Sieg, one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. Spends a lot of money, and puts some kids out there, and wow. Going to miss them.
Yeah.
Well, let's move on to the DBCA main, where we talk all things Dirt World. Freddie, did you ever make it to the World Finals?
Nope, I had to go to
he didn't.
Phoenix on Thursday. Son of a bitch.
Yeah. Did you catch any of it, though?
I watched a bunch of it. Yeah,
Ain't nobody been to more dirt tracks out of y'all than Joel Edmonds. What's your favorite 3?
Favorite 3. I'm gonna put Peevely at the top of the list because I had some good times. That's Schrader's own dirt track.
Yeah.
I-55 Raceway in
still a great
Peveland,
track.
Missouri. As long as it ain't raining, that's a great place because it's in a flood zone. You got a pretty good deal on it. But I'm telling you, World Outlaws goes there. They put on some awesome shows.
It's one of the best World of Outlaw races there is.
It's
man.
great. It's small.
Is that the Iron?
That's
Man?
Iron Man, yeah.
Yeah, it's a great track.
And we
I should check that out.
You
he's
should.
got a couple more. Him and Dale Jr. and a bunch of them bought a couple, I'm going to say Friendship Speedway because that's where I grew up the road here in Elkin, North Carolina. But I raced there.
The Chad Paxton track? Did you work with Chad?
It's had about, no.
He was at MB2.
I remember him.
Suspension room there.
But that place has had about 5 owners. And then maybe I'll just go with Gaffney because I remember Gaffney down here at South Carolina, where the big peaches are going towards Atlanta. Looks like a butt.
So I gave Tyler Courtney's a buddy of mine. I gave him the other night because they ran. I didn't even know. I knew they were coming down here to run the World Finals, which was all weekend. And I was planning on going Thursday, but then we had truck practice Thursday night, which I still didn't even do that. But our flame was going to leave Thursday anyway. So I ended up going Thursday night. But so I'm sitting at the house and somebody, or I think it was his Twitter or something, had like race day, Gaffney. And I'm like, are you in Gaffney? He's like, yeah. I'm like, well, you say something.
Yeah.
Like, it's only an hour from
Shoot
the
me a
house.
text. It's right down the street.
It's like, I could have came and hung out for a
They
little
took
bit.
all the fun out of Gaffney. Gaffney used to be like 0.6 of a mile. I mean, it was the biggest dirt track in the world, I thought. And then they made it small.
Yeah.
But like it used to be, so I go down and watch the Flintstone Flyer.
I was going to say, is that Duval?
Mike Duval.
Yep.
The Flintstone Flyer. You go down there with Bloomquist, he rolls in and a damn, looks like a 300-foot long tractor trailer, compared to everybody else.
Yeah.
And just goes out there and just blistering fast. And you got Duval, who's, got his stuff on the trailer like Schrader would, open air. And
They could run with him.
4 tires and run with him.
Oh,
exactly.
yeah.
And get out and smoke, got a cigarette in both hands. Double dick trick.
But yeah, I watched. Me and TJ watched. Was that during the truck race? We watched the end of one of them. I think the night Marks
Wasn't there a
won.
red flag? Yeah, they red flag it.
The night Marks won. Yeah, I think it was before the race even started.
Might have been. Yeah, that's right. It was
because we were watching. I was telling Tyler if he had a spotter that night, he would have won because we saw Peck running him down from the top. And Tyler made the pass on the bottom. Where I'm yelling at the TV. I'm like, move up! God dang it! Like,
Worst thing I saw was from Charlotte this week was that.
there's a couple big wrecks.
Oh, that one. The
Zeb.
guy got in there and hit like on his top. I'm like, that ain't good.
no, when Zeb hit, that was scary because not only did he hit, and it's a scary looking wreck. It looked a lot like Shane Meals did
Exactly.
years ago.
Yeah.
But then he lands and he's just, I don't know if he's unconscious or if the throttle's stuck, but it's just whipping around like a top. And
Luckily, it gets hung up on that tractor tire.
Yeah. I mean, he might still be going if not.
But I remember they said right off the guy was talking, alert, okay, which is outstanding.
But it's good.
Because we all like to see, everybody likes to see a wreck, but some of them are bad.
Yeah, so that was ugly. But yeah, it was all good racing. Brad Sweet, another championship. What's that? 5 in a row?
Five?
I think it's 5 in a row.
It's 5 in a row.
5 total, 5 in a row, I think.
Unbelievable.
Be interested to see if he's still, because the Outlaws, I think, have a pretty strict rule about going and running other stuff. Yeah. And now he's obviously bought this other series, which I don't know if they're going to make that national.
Well, then you can run whatever you want.
Yeah, like so.
I spotted for Brad when he drove for, was it the 38?
38.
Yeah.
The shot was right around the corner. Braun, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Todd Braun.
Yeah. Hey, I saw him in Phoenix.
Todd Braun?
Walking through the garage.
You
see pretty much everybody.
I heard he's got a speakeasy here we need to find. So it's
in Charlotte?
It's hidden in like Huntersville, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
How do we not know about that?
Well, I mean, I know about it.
How
I
does
just don't
Justin
know where
Haley
it
not
is.
take us there?
I mean, Justin probably. I'm sure Justin knows. We have to find it.
Huh.
I think we're off again. Did we get off on?
Spot on.
What
spot
else?
on.
Millbridge had a big race last week. I have no idea who won it. Casey could be here to tell us, but
yeah,
they had a big. I've
What
seen a
happened
lot
to
of
Casey?
people.
That's one of the reasons I want to come down.
Yeah,
She ain't even
Casey.
here.
She can't make it to.
She literally pulled a Brett.
She-
She complains about Brett, but she pulled a Brett right there.
She always bitches that Brett don't come. I can't believe
Yeah.
Brett. Well, the rest of us are here.
Yeah, and
guess
then where are
the
you?
last show of the year.
She's at the beach.
She's in Phoenix somewhere.
I flew all night and she didn't.
I thought I was going to fly all night too.
Hey, is there any? Can we start a petition to maybe push the World Finals back one weekend?
Just 1 week.
Just 1 week.
Yeah, please.
Well, they just bought it, right?
And it's in Charlotte.
They didn't buy the Outlaws. They bought the All Stars from Tony.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I can't keep up.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll start my own series
Our
now.
first off week, freaking race right here at Charlotte. That'd be perfect.
There'd be
There'd be thousands of us out there.
There'd be a lot of you'd have a lot more from the industry there watching and stuff
Oh
too.
yeah, big names fill the seats.
Well, it's right here. You know what I mean? Outlaws put on a great show.
Everywhere they go.
Well,
everywhere
Whether
they go.
it's 3/4 mile or a half mile or a tennis court.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I mean, you can turn Dirt Vision on any point and watch.
Dude,
everything they got is good.
It has changed my weekends, man. The evening stuff. Dirt
so
Vision.
you play instead of playing PlayStation, now you watch.
Have y'all got like have y'all got a code or something? Because I'm gonna need since I don't work anymore, I'm gonna need like a discount code.
Probably,
but I'm gonna get some of this stuff that I've never had before.
But yeah, but there's tons. You could take in tons of action
every week,
and we appreciate Dirt Vision putting our ugly mugs on TV or streaming us weekly. So thank you to them, and keep your subscription rolling. Who knows if they're going to renew us? So, but you might not see us. But
I'm going to renew, or
yeah, you're going to renew just.
I'm going to enroll or whatever.
Enroll,
subscribe.
Yeah,
I'm going to get the 7-day free trial anyway.
How do they do it? Just go on and click. Make sure you guys like the content. Go down there, hit that subscribe button, smash that like button. Whatever.
I like that part.
Yes. Well, big thanks to Dirt Vision for showing DBC for most of all of this season. Let's move on to Reaction Theater.
Oh, it's the best part.
Well, this is a good one. We got a lot of calls.
I'll bet. Go 12.
He called in.
I would hope so.
He called in. I was a little worried that he didn't, but we got him. Travis has calls.
I don't know what took longer. Casey to tell a story that she's still telling, or that truck race.
I think that was Clint Boyer.
Yeah, that might have been him.
That context and everything about the cadence, that was
Jason. Sorry, Jesus. It's only all year, Andrew. Andrew, do you have a similar story that Casey had last week?
I do. I was broadcasting the fan-controlled. If you guys heard about that, the fan-controlled car. It didn't go too good.
Yeah,
hacker ended up getting into the. Hacker ended up getting into JJ Ellie, but the broadcast was fun.
Did you guys continue to broadcast after that thing?
We did continue to broadcast afterwards, and then we just started reacting to stuff that was happening. But I did that from JRM, and as I'm leaving, I'm barely out of the business park, rolling up to a stop sign, and I look over to my left, and all of a sudden, a deer T-bones me.
You're not even moving?
I was under 5 miles an hour. Like, the deer ran right into my car.
And you live here, right?
And I live in Huntersville.
Okay.
And now I can't open the driver's side door.
So you got to get out the passenger side?
Yeah.
Still, like, is it here?
If you would have drove home with me from Statesville last night, I saw 7,000 deer.
Oh, my God.
I mean, I don't know how it was unbelievable.
Everywhere.
So
So I was the best way I describe it, I was the deer in the headlights.
Did you scream?
Somebody sent me a video, and I'll show you guys, but I don't want to stop the show for it. But the guy says it's a clip, and the guy says, a great story. He said, I sold my truck on Facebook Marketplace or something like that. And he says, a guy calls me and says, I want to buy it as long as it's in mint condition. The guy says it's in mint condition. I promise. I took care of it forever.
Downhill.
So got a camera, and I'll show it to you. But it's his like ring camera out the front of his house, and he goes, this is the guy pulling up to my house in this white Tahoe. He pulls up, and as the guy pulls up, a deer jumps into the side of his pickup and destroys the quarter panel.
I saw that.
Wow.
He's like, you gotta be kidding me.
Yeah, was in mint condition.
Well, it used to be in mint condition.
Yeah.
I saw that.
It's a thought that counts.
Yeah, you can need a doe tag now, and you can get it.
That deer clears that other car.
I mean, just jumps right over it.
Over the car.
Deer are getting dumber.
Oh, yeah, like a bear. I was in Gatlinburg 5-6 years ago. Sat in the cabin and whatever, come back and got the dog out, and I'm like, is that a bear coming down the road? And I go in the cabin, and I come back around, and I got a video. I mean, you know me, I got everything on tape. Yeah. So the bear comes up, and I'm like, he's going to walk across the front of so I'm filming, waiting for him to come across the front of the truck. He don't come across. This time he opens up the back door. And then I have to scream. If I'd just held the camera up for like 4 more seconds, 10 grand. Instant 10 grand.
It's America's Funniest Home Video.
Literally opened up the back door because they get in cars. And Gatlinburg bears are like cats. Here. Like have you been to Gatlinburg?
Oh, yeah.
They're everywhere. And I mean, the damn thing just walks right up the road, opens the door, and if it had got in my truck, They don't go out the same door they come in. They find a different spot to come out. They tear all
Out a
the
window.
seats out. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, God. But when I hollered, it's a little 200-pound bear, but it took off.
Bubba's dad, he had a house, I don't know if he still has a house up there, but he sent me a video one day, and there's just 2 bears in his driveway just hanging out.
Everywhere.
I'm like, what in the world is going on?
Oh, yeah, you ride through Cades Cove, which is a beautiful part of the deal up there through some big park. And people are out flushing them out, like flushing the moms and the cubs out. I'm like, these people are
stupid.
eating. I'm filming like this. They're going to die right here. Because you don't mess with a bear.
I had to fly with Marcus to Nashville to do a thing to Smith, to do a, and he was telling me that Cassie is amazing and she loves animals, and he's like, I'm a little concerned because she's just been kind of just throwing food out there, feeding animals, and
we got bread.
Yeah, we got everything in our backyard. He's like, what happens the day when she's got no food? Like, what's this thing gonna do?
So obviously, I pissed Marcus off with
often.
Just the once, big time with the scaffolding spotter stand at Wilkesboro. But Wilkesboro, I hold dear, near and dear to my heart because I grew up 20 minutes away. So we going back there, and then where I got to stand is like moving, and somebody addressed it a couple months before. But, I mean, they did a great job making that track. The best thing, that was the only weak link. But, like, Marcus is still mad. Still mad.
I'm sure.
I saw him at the South Point. In the little, they got a little liquor store and, like, where you can buy beer, like, past the casino part.
Yes. Can you buy cigarettes in there?
Can you buy cigarettes in there?
And he was, like, on one side of the thing, or where they're trying to save the T-shirt for the South Point 400. And he didn't know which way to go because he didn't want to run into me, and I didn't want to run into him. But it's kind of funny. I was I tweeted out a picture of Wilkesboro last week, and I was up.
Would you break in?
Yeah. Eddie Settle, who's a senator, North Carolina senator, was having like a fundraiser.
He definitely is.
So
Democrat.
it says. So it's he's
there ain't no way Joel's showing up.
Nah,
as a Democrat.
he's a Republican. So my buddy, the clerk of court in Dobson, Neil. So we're going up to this deal because on the invitation is Eddie Settle, whatever, guest speaker, Marcus Smith, and I said, "You damn right, I'm going because he gonna have to sit there and watch me hang out with him or whatever, and possibly to come, Dale Jr." Is what it says on the thing. And I'm like, well, I can go ahead and tell you that ain't happening. Because once he figures out what this is all about, he won't be there.
Yeah.
This ain't his gig right here.
Oh, boy.
So if you and Marcus, to go back here, though.
You and Marcus hug it out? Y'all
beautiful.
good?
Yeah. He actually didn't show.
Oh.
He probably found out I was going. Yeah. He did send he sent a guy that did a night. Can you hear that over the? That's a signal.
We got it.
Refill.
But I got nothing against Marcus. We actually talked it out that weekend. I found him in the parking lot and we were walking around. He was very upset. His face was redder than mine right now. And yeah, he was not happy. And I said, hey man, I'm not throwing. I just want it. I said the only thing I said to him, I said, hey, if your kid was racing and getting into 3 and 4, and there's one sitting there sideways, your kid's sitting there with his door with everybody coming, and we can't see him. Is that what you would want? And that ain't what he wanted to hear. Now I know he didn't build the spotter stand, but it did get $18 million to build one. Put something somewhere.
Yeah.
So it'll get better. Me being a sometimes helps. Not every time.
Not every time, but it has happened.
There has been an eclipse every once in a while.
This next call, I think they figured out a way to fix the truck series.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy. What a truck race. I think I have a solution for all of NASCAR. I think we need a couple dozen priests, a couple dozen nuns, a couple dozen everything. I don't know what else you got out there, but just send them all, and they just need to start blessing the races and blessing the drivers. And instead of going to the NASCAR hauler after the race, they need to go sit down with the priest in the hot tub. I think that's the solution now.
I don't think you can say sit with a priest in a hot tub.
Is that guy from Kentucky with that smoking hot wife? Was that priest? Who was that?
I don't know what the hell that was. I don't think it's going to work either.
Nah, we got some good, reverends at the track, and it's still
not working.
Like I was in a crash, maybe 1/3 left in the truck race, And I did not have enough beers.
Hang on a minute. Hang on a minute. You were not in a crash.
No, I called.
You started a crash.
Hey, it's my first week with this kid, and I don't want to mention any names because I am working on something else. But we end up, I don't know.
You know that was my truck he hit, right?
Was it you?
Yeah.
61.
Yeah.
Okay, so I did not know it was you, or I would have come and said sorry. But I hear
that is not true.
No, I would have, because y'all know me. I'm very apologetic.
If you would have saw this wreck, you would have probably said sorry yourself.
And I was told later that he blew a right front, and I know he did at some point. So I'm not arguing when it was. But and it's funny now that it's me and TJ, but we end up on the apron.
Oh, they're right next to each
Win
other.
the net to win the net. I'm serious. It's like closer to me and Brett. And I said, hey, bud, I'd stay in there for a little bit, but he's going to be mad. So I didn't know at the time.
He did.
But
He
TJ's guy gets out, and he's talking to the winning net,
Yeah.
and he's down on him. And I said, he jumps off the bed and kind of goes over to the safety people. And there's enough NASCAR people now that, I didn't see Stan, but there's enough people that something's not going to happen.
Stan.
But I said, you can get out now, boss. And he dropped the winning net and come on out. I said, I'd hang there for just a beat. I said, I think this guy's going to be mad.
When they hit the wall, they were going down the track. Their
Yeah.
window nets were 2 feet apart. And as he's sliding down the track, I'm like, Jake, you okay? And he's like, yeah, but I'm gonna. And I'm like, I'm sitting there, I'm thinking like, well, you're 2 feet from him right now. This is the best chance you're gonna get.
That's
but
why. You notice my guy never dropped his net. See, because I
told Jake, I'm like, Jake. Jake's trying to get more, move up in the spot. I'm like, Jake, just be smart here, man. And
we're on TV, bro.
That was the best spot you did all weekend.
Exactly. And it was like, now I'm going to the car and drink beer. And didn't have enough.
Didn't have enough.
Because I'm out there. My battery's dead on my phone. The vehicle's dead because I don't have. Joe went back and sat in the stands to watch. Joe Campbell. So I'm opening the door just to keep the light on. When I thought the battery was going to be dead, I've been here 4 hours. Waiting on 17 laps of the truck race. And they go wham, and then nothing. And then there's another car. But it was fun. But if I'd have known that was you, because I thought, like you said, at my best spot, and I said, bro, I'd sit there for just a minute. I think he's going to be mad.
One good thing about where we're at Phoenix is when they wreck down there, you see exactly what happens. You see when guys get into the corners too deep. Like, me and Freddie sat there and watched Chandler earlier this year just send Josh, like, same type of thing, over the corner. And we saw the same thing right when it was too late. You can't say anything. Like, I can't tell my guy at that point.
When I saw us 15 foot before we hit you,
we knew. I knew too. Yeah,
I already had 2 radios in my bag. I knew I was done. There ain't no way he making a corner. I just hope he don't take me out.
Oh my gosh!
But
yeah,
I didn't know it was you.
Yeah, we
Sorry
knew.
about that.
They're gonna wreck.
Sorry about that.
What are you gonna do? It's not like we can't.
It's funny, like you talk about. I was sitting in a truck yesterday in the hauler, and I'm looking at the pit road map, and they're bringing some Smithfield people through, and a guy sticks his head up and says, "Hey, do you like TJ Majors?" And I said,
Who?
Well, yeah, during the week. I said, none of us like each other on race day. It's kind of a joke because we all get along. Every now and then I'll get somebody's shirt all in a big knot.
I heard, were you mad at my teammate last week?
We kind of made up over the weekend.
He sent me a text and you followed him on Twitter recently.
Oh, he followed me back.
See?
That's it.
Now you guys are good.
It's like we're dating now.
You need to learn from this. Brett can learn from this. He didn't just block somebody. They made up.
Hey, the block, I think they're going to take it away from us, ain't they?
No,
Brett's got to pay for it.
I don't think they can.
I hope they can't because I have to block them every now and then.
Yeah.
Say something about my dog, you blocked.
Brett, you say anything to Brett, you get blocked.
Well, I don't know. I've said a lot to Brett, but we've done a lot. Man, been a lot of water under this bridge.
Yeah.
Me and Brett take off one time out of Statesville, and we've done more flying together than Chuck Yeager did with all them people he flew with because we were on like Biffle's planes and Elliott's planes. But we take off, we're going to Richmond. It's like a 40-minute flight. On Elliott's plane, I think everybody else was already up, or we were stopping maybe to get Elliott in Emporia.
Yeah.
But we take off, and we look up, and the yoke is shaking just massively. There's 2 pilots up there, and it's like the steering wheels come off, like your wheels loose.
Toe length.
So Brett, me and him in the back, and we're going to do practice in like 2 hours. So Brett runs to the front, talks to the 2 pilots, comes back to me and says, "You want me to mix you a drink?" And I'm like, well, I do, but I don't know how. What are we looking at here?
Brett
so we
does
circled
really
back
good.
around, and they took something off the plane. Then we were fine.
Yeah, they were good.
But it was like 20 seconds of chaos.
Brett,
but I appreciated where his heart was.
Brett
at.
does really good on situations like that.
Oh yeah,
I panic.
We start hitting bumps. I mean, and I get it. I don't like that either. It's like Greg. We used to fly biffle everywhere, kind of, and like you're getting your ass kicked up there. And Greg's bitching at the pilots, and Gary says, "Hey, I don't like to see the wings shake no more than you do. Go back here and sit down." The wings are out there just like it's about to tear
you don't
them
want to
off.
look at a wing.
He said, I don't like to see them shake any more than you do. Go back here and sit down.
Well, that's what I think people don't
answer.
get about our flying is, a lot of us have flown on really small airplanes.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Biffle's King Air 90, I flew that thing to Philadelphia one time, and I'm not shitting you, it took 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
And it beat us to absolute death. And we got there, and I was like, I'm driving home. I ain't flying this thing back.
You ought to flew the old 210. You remember the little
yeah.
one he had?
Oh, yeah.
Like we come on from Bristol one time and had Todd in there who was the co-pilot for many years. And Greg's flying or whatever, and this is a retractable gear little 210, really nice. And Todd's like, "Hey, man, you going to have to climb or something? We're going to hit this mountain." And I'm like, hey, say that one more time. Why are we going to hit a mountain? I mean, why is Greg flying?
Like good.
Yeah, why is
Greg flying?
Well, that's like Clint. Clint would always take off in his airplane, and he's wanting to fly by his farm every time. Yeah. And I'm like, we saw this farm last week.
Yeah.
Why are you flying, and why are we going back by this farm again?
Greg was really, really good in a helicopter. I will tell you that. Now, fixed wing, they all say like this and that's different. I don't know. I can't make a paper airplane. But like Biffle, later in his career, I would meet him down here at Birkdale when he was living down there, and we'd fly to Darlington, just me and him. Yeah. And you just don't get in a helicopter with just anybody.
Yeah.
He landed at Dale Jr.'s one time.
Yeah.
We were out. I don't know I forget what we were doing, but this
Drinking,
helicopter.
probably,
I remember hearing about this.
He just literally landed at this helicopter lands in the field, and we're like,
"Yeah,
who's this?"
Yeah.
And he shuts it down, gets out, walk up, and it's Greg.
It's the same with Petrie. Like he's got one, and he's up in Asheville, and we're up at Biffle's Mountain property one time in Rutherford. You've been up there, I know. And all of a sudden, they were having one of these deals, some benefit that they used to have for the dog stuff that Greg does. And Andy just lands in the field because he saw 4 other helicopters. And he said, "Well, I just saw y'all up here." And because Andy bought one of Greg's old helicopters or something. But
he did a little backpedaling this week.
Yeah, I got on him a little bit too. I saw him yesterday. He wasn't fist bumping me either. But I mean, I guess he found out something, and that's the way it always is.
What did you tweet him? You said, "Andy, handle this on Tuesday."
Yeah, he said, somebody put out something that said, this is something. I'm like, man, this is on Tuesday. You don't.
Is this because of Austin Dillon, or what is this because of? I'm just curious.
That was the no. That was
I know,
he
but
run up to that other guy.
I know it was because of what happened with Austin Hill and Creed. But
I am not an Austin Dillon man. I can tell you that. And as far as GS2, I don't care. I mean, are you serious? When these boys, and they may be the greatest people in the world, but I remember when they were playing Little League Baseball or something. They went to the World Series, and they flew on a private jet, and everybody else is taking a bus. You just know that ain't gonna work out. You know what I mean?
I think it's working out well, actually.
They're doing all right.
Well, I'm for sure he'll be running that place for long, and
probably sooner than most think.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Andrew. I'm sorry we got off track for the 15th time.
It's me,
today.
man. I should have got a 12-pack, 18-pack.
This next fan is confusing Ryan Blaney for somebody else.
Uh-oh.
Someone please tell Blaney to shave his beard. He won the championship. He looks like an old homeless man. They put 10 years on him. Get rid of that beard. You look like a bum. Congratulations, champ.
Congrats, champ. You look like a bum. Blaney always tries it. I'm surprised they let him have it.
Is that the cops outside?
I think so.
It looks like there is a cop out there.
It does look like a cop car.
That thing's got.
They saw you carry that 18
that's
back
a
in
Dodge
here.
Charger with a brush guard on it. I don't like that.
Thank goodness it's leaving. Hey, listen, no race car driver in the Cup Series right now has more looks than Ryan Blaney. He'll do the mustache. He'll do the beard. He'll do
Clean
the long
shaven.
hair. He'll do the clean shave.
Yep.
You don't know what Ryan
And then a
Blaney's going to show
Halloween
up.
costume or something come up. It's always something.
You just don't know.
Some of them Halloween costumes he's put on they're different.
I don't do that.
I bet
holiday,
he
so.
pulls. I think Martin Truex, when he won his championship, I think he drank all winter. I bet you Blaney does that. It'd be like me or you.
I'm sure he drunk all night.
Oh,
you know who I felt sorry for?
Who?
Who did not come today is Cole Custer. Because he wins the championship on Saturday. and he drinks or pours 2 beers on himself, then cuts himself somehow.
He cuts himself?
in that deal where he
doing
he
the
didn't fall.
smash.
Yeah, he
Stone
did,
Cold?
He did cut his finger or something.
Doing
Yeah,
the
he had a
Stone
Band-Aid
Cold.
on his
But
finger.
then he doesn't know how much he can drink because he don't know if Brad's coming back.
Yeah.
You know, because Brad's home having a kid, but Cole's wanting to do the Stone Cold all night and go to Scottsdale like the rest of us want to do. But
I
can't.
told him. I said
he had to go to the hotel and stay with Joe.
I had good news for Cole because me and McReynolds had a hell of a victory party for Cole.
You told
He wasn't there.
I had somewhat of one. Like after we got out and Timmy, God love him, we went and ate and messed around, and then I said I want to try to find some what is it, Colonel E.H. Taylor?
E.H. Taylor.
I said I want to try to find. So Timmy drove us to L.A. Seemed like
It's 4 hours.
But we went for a while.
Yeah.
I mean, you know how Timmy is. Timmy's one of the best sports up there. Good guy. I found a 5th EH. So if you're ever up my way,
Yeah. Couple hundred?
112.
That's cheap.
Oh, a guy told me, he said, I'll give you 200. I said, 200? I wouldn't give you the box around this or whatever that cylinder it comes in.
Yeah. That's a steal.
Last night when we landed, after we finally got home, I said, I just hope it didn't blow the cork out of that thing.
Yeah.
This next call is from one of Freddie's sponsors this weekend.
Oh.
Well, it's Papa and Reddick Tyler, 45 TIE Fighter
Yoda.
X-Ray. And once again, congrats to Benny Ryan. The force is strong with him. And Chastain sucks.
So I really wanted to try and spot some of the race like Yoda yesterday, but I just could never find the time to.
Do you have a Yoda voice?
No, I wouldn't have done the voice, but I would have just you know how he talks like he talks backwards. I was gonna say like clear you are,
Yeah,
you know,
like-
instead of because he talks like he speaks backwards.
Be careful with that. You're gonna be like that. That threw me off for just a second. But like when you came out with the suit, like the orange suit, I said, "Who? What?" And you said it's Star Wars. And I said, "Well, damn it! I would have got some stuff for my nephews because they
I still got
watch
some
all that
stuff.
and
I
tweet
got
all
some
that
stuff.
See, now we talk.
Now we talk.
18 for some Star Wars
18
stuff.
from some Star Wars.
And my nephews are sophomores in college, and they still love this stuff. And I said, I ain't seen.
I've
the
never
first
gotten
15 minutes.
I've never gotten more requests from people saying, "Can you get me a hat? Can you get me a cruise shirt?
Yeah.
Whatever it is." Like, I mean, they're ate up with it. I mean, I've seen the movies.
It'd be
the
the same
movies.
as the Harvick hat.
Yeah.
like
It's
the
made a
Harvick
comeback.
hat that looked like a Busch Light.
That
hat.
Harvick, that deal there was a cop out because all that did was look like every video game I played in 2005. Like when they couldn't put the Dale Jr. button 8. You know, like
Yeah, they had to. Yeah. Yeah. That Star Wars has made a comeback though, man. I mean,
that's the thing. Like I didn't even know because nowadays there's like extra movies. I saw like the original.
I haven't seen the
6
Mandalorian
movies.
stuff.
Well, they got rid of that one girl that had like the
Princess
the
Leia
headset on or something.
Got rid of her.
Is she still in it?
I think she's still around. I think.
But she's got a different hair, right?
Yeah.
Wait, who are you talking about?
Well,
Leia?
Pretty sure she.
Well, she died, right?
Yeah, she passed away.
in real life.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, in real life.
Yeah.
She
But
died.
That's
they
why they
replaced
got
her
rid
with
of
like.
her.
I don't know. I haven't
Kate
seen the
Hudson.
last.
Oh,
couple
like
movies.
CGI. Yeah.
Whatever.
See, I don't know.
They didn't replace her. They made they did a CGI deal like made her.
Really?
Yes.
In one of the movies, but in the last
Yes.
movie, it was actually her. It was like a deleted scene from.
Yeah.
I
something
can't
they
do the
previously
scary
shot.
movies. So
Oh,
like
Star Wars is not a scary
Well,
movie.
no, you don't understand. Like the ET deal threw me way.
scared the out of you?
that finger that lit up. I can't do that. No.
Still think about it.
We're
Yeah.
getting pretty far
No,
into
I
this
mean,
box.
I'll tell you what else will
Oh,
throw me
God.
off. Is
Freddie,
I was,
look at how
I
many
was,
you've
I was
got
in
back there.
Scottsdale, and a car pulls up to the stoplight, and there's nobody in the car. There ain't a driver,
Oh, it's one of those
There ain't a
autonomous
passenger?
cars. Yeah.
and there ain't nobody in the back. And I'm like, holy cow.
Joe Biden
I
did
can't
that.
believe what I'm seeing. And it's called Waymo, Waymo. But it looked like it was like a Google car. You know how the
Yeah.
cars used to drive around and film everything? So I looked at the car and I thought that's what it was. Well, the next one pulls up, and this is 30, 45
fleet
minutes
of 'em?
later. And I'm like, there's a car right here with nobody in it. The guy rolls down the window in the back, goes, "Oh man, I'm in here." There's nobody in the front seats. This thing is artificial intelligence driving itself. around Scottsdale.
I had
Arizona.
I'm probably gonna need one of them in about 2 hours.
Me and Jason Jarrett had a similar situation in L.A. last year because we're sitting at a stoplight and a Explorer, which I promise you is not autonomous or whatever that word is, it makes a left, and I go, Jason, there ain't nobody driving that car.
Nobody in there.
And it goes over, hits a curb. It hits a curb and then smokes the car behind me. I don't know if the guy got out, got carjacked, like if he just fell over. I don't know where he was,
That's what
it was a hell of a wreck.
ain't it?
It's similar, yeah.
It looks like a Tesla.
Yeah, it does.
Well, I'm gonna tell you something.
But that's a Tesla car because there's something on
Puts
top of it, like a
blinkers
cop
on.
car.
I mean, last night I was in one beside of one, and light turns green. It took off same time we did.
They've been driving around Phoenix for
Yeah.
the last couple of years. For as
Mine
long
will
as
drive
I went
itself.
to school there, they
scary.
had those cars.
You
It's
from
nuts.
Phoenix?
I went to school there.
And went to school in Phoenix.
Yeah.
And now you're around here?
I live here.
Okay.
Yeah.
You been to Mayberry yet?
I've not.
He has no idea what that is.
Open invitation.
Okay.
Did you ever
Do you
watch
know what
Andy-
Mayberry is?
You ever watch Andy Griffith?
No, he doesn't know what that is.
He don't know who Andy.
Do you know who Andy Griffith is?
He don't know who Andy Griffith is. Not that he had his
I feel
own
like-
show for
I just
1,000
lost a
years.
piece of my heart. Because I live in Mayberry. I live like 8 minutes from Mount Airy, North Carolina, which is where Andy Griffith is from.
Joel gets his haircut at Floyd's.
I'll get you the whole first season on DVD or whatever you watch.
They don't have DVD players.
He's got a
anymore,
stream
Joel.
now,
Yeah,
bro.
they
Oh,
stream
I'm
'em.
sorry. See, up there in the woods, my internet runs off different stuff. But I mean, how do you Mount Pilot? Aunt B, nothing.
Nothing.
He's
No.
getting
Barney Fife. You ever heard of Barney Fife?
Barney Fife.
Me? No.
Jesus.
I've heard of him. I couldn't.
You're
tell
a
you.
liar.
What are you, a
Tell you
small,
that.
small or a medium? Because
Small.
I'll get you Andy Griffith shirt.
What about
and then you'll fit in. Like you go out to Joel's sushi or whatever over here. They'll be like, "Hey,
Is
this
that your
guy,
place?
he's from around here."
Is that your place? Is that?
Yeah, you run that?
I got a shirt from there once.
You know what Gilligan's Island is?
I've heard of it.
Okay.
All right, go to the next call. Jesus, we're gonna figure out the year.
We have
What's
one
that,
more
is that,
call.
what's that number? What? How do you get this number?
I'll send it to you.
'Cause now that I'm-
702-9572.
Now that I'm
9898.
unemployed, I'm gonna be calling in a lot. And I got several aliases and asses that's going to be.
We have one more call.
Mayberry Joel.
We have
Opie, line 2.
we have one more call, and it's from one of our best reaction theater callers who is finally rejoicing after being down earlier this season. Go 12.
Woo, boys! Ryan Blaney is a 2023 NASCAR champion. And I don't know what the a Menards is, but I'm about to go to one. Boys, and Ross Chastain could shove that watermelon up his ass winning the race. Who gives a boys? We have done it. Woo, go 12! And furthermore, before I put this hot tub on Marketplace on Facebook, y'all want to ask Christopher Bell if he wants it, because I give it to him. Go 12!
That's
Go
pretty.
12.
Go 12.
That's it.
That guy's been calling in for
Dude.
about a couple months now.
Yeah, a few months ago he was down and out.
I think that's my neighbor because I hear this going on like in the distance over the mountain. Wow. That's I can fit in on this deal. Give me the number. Text me the
Hey,
number.
cool. Really cool deal for John Bernard, who's been a supporter of our
100%.
sport forever, to have his name on the car when they win that championship.
Yeah, that guy. It's funny when I got fired from Bifflesville, which is a great story.
We told that.
We
one.
told it last week.
I heard. Yeah. But like I get a call like the next Saturday from GS1 and GS2's dad. He's like, come on up to Michigan. You spotting tomorrow from Menard. I'm like, what? I said, nah, you got a guy that's been on the roof for 2 days and done practice, and I'm not coming up and going to replace him on Sunday.
Yeah.
And that was, it kind of told me then I didn't want to work there ever. You know what I mean? If you would do that to somebody, but Paul Menard, loved the guy, great guy. He's like Carl. They were really good friends, kind of a little bit eccentric. But I remember Googling what, there's that damn
the cops are back.
There's that damn cop car again. Somebody go get the license plate off my truck. But I Googled what John Menard was worth. And I told my dad because he was scared to death because I got fired. You know, he never been fired. Wanted to get fired. And I said, this guy's worth like so many $1 billion. And it's like 3 times that now. But, you know, a guy that's been around forever. I mean,
Huge supporter
every
of motorsports.
series. I mean, he's on Friday,
Everything.
Saturday.
I mean, he sponsors the ARCA series,
Yeah,
right? Every
ARCA.
ARC is
Yeah.
ARCA Menard series now.
I mean, he's the one guy that if he said, you know what, I'm sick of this shit, I'm just going to buy a NASCAR, he can do that. You know, because they would probably take his money
yeah, oh yeah.
because he's got, and he's a pretty nice guy. Like the guy shows up, you don't know he's in the room.
Nope.
You don't know by his clothes. You don't know by the way he's acting.
I have no idea who he is. Like, look, he could walk by me tomorrow, and I would never know.
Yeah. And Paul,
It'd
I like
be just
Paul a
like
lot,
me
too.
walking by. I'm
Yeah.
telling you, he just looks. Paul's same.
Paul's really cool,
Paul's
man.
super cool guy.
Yeah, really good guy. A lot of fun to be around.
I would have loved to spot it for him had he been driving somewhere else at the time. Not that, I mean, you know, there's any hard feelings or anything.
No, nothing at all.
I mean, that's a great location up there they got, too, for a shop. Come on, man.
Well, thank y'all for all the calls. 704-802-9572. That's the number.
You'll be hearing from me.
We expect we're gonna keep the lines open all off season. So
I'm gonna be on. Y'all go on speed dial. I mean, I got.
save it to your
I
contacts.
just got phone up there too. I mean, so I got landline and everything.
Let's move on to Ask DBC, where fans you can send your questions each week using hashtag AskDBC. This question's from Master of Light, one of our most engaged fans on social media. What moment stood out to you guys the most from this season? Whether it be a certain race, certain popular win.
Hell, I don't know. I've been drinking beer for the last 2 hours now.
I'm sorry about that. Let's see here.
I mean, honestly, probably the run Blaney went on here. The last, you've seen that run that Tony made in whatever year that was. Him and Carl ended up tied, and I don't know if Cop's leaving again.
He's coming in.
I don't know how direct of a coincidence this is that like he really turned it up right about the time he failed that tech, but didn't actually fail the tech, or whatever that happened there. But they hauled ass the last round and a half.
When his shock was too short or whatever, they came up the next week and said, "Hey, our gauge was off." So then everybody went through tech at the next race, wherever that was at. Nah, they all failed. Like the 99 car, which I give no shits about, went through tech, and all 4 of his shocks were illegal from the week before that he'd run for like 3 weeks or some stuff. So NASCAR's gauge was off, which I know is hard to believe that they got something that ain't on the up and up. But like they measured his shock, and then and then the shock guy's probably trembling at home, going, "I'm done." It's Dollar General from now on, which Dollar General's a great store, by the way. But if you knew your stuff was right, and then you got kicked out, and now you're going to be out of the playoffs, and I mean, he could have been out of a championship, but they said their gauge was off. Well, then we all go to the next race, and I don't know anything about tech or even where they have it anymore. But everybody's stuff was off. Like we had 2 shocks off on the 10. We don't cheat. I'm going to go ahead and tell you. Obviously. Now, some of them cheat over because I think they paid out about $750,000 in fines and shit.
It was a lot.
Yeah, you damn right.
This next question coming from Luis.
Have you got your last check yet?
Nah, but I'm going to send the invoice today. Just take a chance on getting one.
You might want to expedite that.
I better text my stepmom before this goes live and try to get that on through the system.
You might want to leave here and drive over there.
Yeah.
And just walk in and
Have
get
him cut it.
I'm probably going to have to stay down here. I don't know about leaving here. Y'all got a bed in here?
This next question coming from Luis. Thoughts on Ford sweeping the weekend after struggling in all 3 series throughout the season? And there's actually an interesting stat. Ford went 8 for 36 in the Cup Series, 5 for 33 in the Xfinity Series, and 6 for 26 in the Truck Series.
Yeah. I mean, I guess.
Well, I mean, we talked about it last week. I said on here, Ben Rhodes, if he wins the championship, it just kind of points out where the system's at because he was an average truck. I mean, I shouldn't say average. He's above average. But, he by far was not the fastest truck. I think that the 00 didn't surprise me because the 2 fastest cars the last 3 or 4 weeks have been the 98 and the 00. That really didn't surprise me. And they weren't – if it was a short run, like obviously the restart, but they had stayed out. So – like the 20 was better. I felt like on the short run if he can get out in front of him, but then the 00 would take over long run. So that didn't surprise me. And I think we all kind of agreed last week that Blaney was probably the favorite going to Phoenix because of how he run.
A lot of momentum there for him. You know,
it was. But I mean, that's unbelievable for them. We talked
about. It's going to be weird being at the same track. You know, like I said, Biffle won Homestead 3 years in a row. Yeah. Back before this was ever what you did, or maybe it was 1 year. So if you're in the Final Four and you can win at that track, you know, like he could win Texas. So if you started having it at Martinsville, there's certain people that can win it and certain people can't.
I felt like back in the day before the Final Four was, you know, the Final Four, which was 2014, I think. You know, I felt like Roush won Homestead every year, whether it was Biffle or so.
Well, it was Biffle 3 years in a row. Kirk got one Matt, so it was 5 years in a row. It's kind of like when Jimmy was winning championships.
Yeah, and it's funny because now once we switch to the Final Four, you rarely see. You obviously seen it with Ross yesterday, but you rarely. I think that's the first time since they went to it that the guy didn't win, right? Like that.
I think so.
I think you're right.
Yeah. So I mean,
on about every day, or every series. I mean.
It's interesting.
You got to give Epic freaking shout out here though to Ford, Doug Yates, who we know well. Roush H Engines, obviously Penske back-to-back championships. Logano last year, Blaney this year, and to Andrew's point, it's not the guy that 5-6 weeks ago we had winning this thing. I mean, until he won Talladega, we didn't even know if he was going to make it to the next round. And then he got crazy hot.
And he won Talladega by the length of that box.
I mean, we know why Ben Rhodes won Phoenix and won a championship. And good for him. Good for ThorSport. A stellar team in that series. You know, no owner more invested in that series than what Duke is. And then obviously, like you said, Freddie Stewart-Haas crazy fast. But John Hunter was still the favorite going into the race.
Oh yeah.
In my mind, anyway. Yesterday, obviously Blaney got hot at the right time, but we've been talking about it since he won Martinsville. Like their short track stuff was good, and Ford's struggles were for the most part on the 1.5 mile tracks. I mean, other than Chris Buescher, who was setting the world on fire at one point yesterday, looked like he was going to contend to win.
Harvick, I mean, he started third and came up and led some stuff, and I'm like, wow.
Yeah, took
and
the
all
lead.
of a sudden he was kind of towards me.
It's tough.
You know, I think the Friday, Saturday stuff, you kind of got to look at Tony Hirschman a little bit. You know, he was the Toyota guy. He's the favorite on both days, and
he sucks.
They can't get it done.
Yeah,
you know, the damn guy, if he'd moved down here, if he didn't live in
Allentown,
Pennsylvania,
Mayberry of the North,
Transylvania, Mayberry of the North is exactly right. He's still thinking they're going to bring Nazareth back. I mean, are you? That's like thinking the Eagles are going to get back together.
I gotta
go.
What
are you talking about?
Me and Hirsch are so stupid. We're going to race against each other in modifieds.
I heard y'all talking about that. Yeah,
we're going to fight our way out of a couple more races.
Is this one I can drive? Is that up there or down here?
It's in one's in New York, one's in New Jersey. I don't think you're going to make it.
I don't think I think I'm banned from New York. Sure enough. But if they have that north-south thing and it's in the south,
that was last.
Already happened.
That was last week.
See the weeks. The
they don't line up.
They just don't line up.
It doesn't matter to me anymore.
Yeah, you're good
so
now.
I'm good.
Yeah,
I can go to all that. Okay, sorry.
Let's move on. I have a really good feeling about this segment. Let's move on to What an Idiot.
What an idiot.
Lord help us.
Hell, I even drove down here for this.
I had so many what an idiots.
There's a lot of them, man. Like,
all right, so there's one that was really bad, and then there's one you had to go back in time. Actually, I got one. TJ made my list this week, by the way.
By what I told you?
Yeah.
That was. But then I got topped quick, though.
Yeah. Then TJ went to the racetrack without his radios this week, by the way.
Oh,
I mean, minor
Scary.
detail.
I can help you on this in a minute. Go ahead.
He left him in his rental. I don't know what he was doing. He was switching rental cars at the racetrack.
So I'll tell you real quick what happened. We get off the plane, and Brad's car is there, and there's another guy that's not Cummins' car is there, and Brad's like, all right, well, I don't want this Ford. This
is a big car.
Yeah, and he's like, I want this Ford Edge. So he hops in the Edge. He's like, take mine. So Andy Houston was riding with me. We hop in Brad's, and I'm just going to drive it out and get my car because it's going to be a travel nightmare. They're going to be looking for this car, turn it back in or whatever. So we put all our stuff in it right here instead of walking out to that satellite lot or whatever, where everything's at. We drive out there. We get my car. Well, Andy gets all the bags out of the back, and I'm talking to the guy, getting this, hey, this is Brad's car.
Now we're blaming this on Andy.
A little bit, yeah. What an idiot. So exactly. I get my stuff. I had a cooler and a backpack in the back seat, and I grab that stuff, throw it in the back. I'm like, all right, Andy already closed the trunk up, so I'm like, all right, you got everything. And we drive to the track, and we park in the lot behind,
I heard this story.
we park in the lot back there, and I'm waiting on you guys are coming to the truck. Were you with? No, you were with them.
We were meeting you guys.
Yeah, we're waiting on you to get there. Me and Andy are sitting there waiting, and they get there just under an hour before practice. No time, no problem. So I get out, and I'm like, all right, well they're here. I'm gonna go on up. Where are my radios? And I'm like, oh, so
you can say it's okay.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, and I fortunately had the number of the guy that worked for the deal there, and I called him right away. And I'm like, hey, that excursion that we just turned in that we're not using,
I need it. I want
yeah,
it. I gotta have it.
I need it. I need in it. I need somebody looking at it like right now. And he's like, oh, let me look here. Yeah,
there's no worse feeling.
He's like, oh, I don't see anything in the back seat. Let me check the very back. And he's like, I'm like, oh God. And he's like, oh yeah, there's a K. I'm like, all right, I'm on the way.
Yeah, it's only like $15,000 in there. So.
Yeah, that was it. So I drive there, and honestly,
so Andy left your bag in the car.
Well,
that's not the way I heard it.
What's Andy's side of this story?
It's not really Andy's fault.
Funny.
I should have checked.
These guys travel together, and they do different stuff. Like Timmy will have to be somewhere. Like yesterday, Andy was wrestling with a lot of bags, or somebody was.
Oh, yeah.
And then Ken's got some stuff that somebody needs to help
pee again.
Yeah, me too.
Keep feeding me beers.
Yeah.
Well, anyway.
Love it.
So whose fault was it?
It's
everybody.
At the end of the day, it's my fault because I should have checked for my own stuff.
The only time, and I did this yesterday, TJ, I'll take up for you. I'm in there, and I show up, and I go to the truck, and it's my last day, so I'm all sentimental, hugging everybody, and I put my backpack on the counter. Well, somebody shuffle all that stuff up later. So I get ready to go to the roof, and I go in there and I pick up the backpack that's sitting right there, and I walk my fat ass all the way up to the spotter stand.
You got to the roof?
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah, to the roof, and set it down on the ground. And I'm like, I ain't got no carabiner on my damn backpack. So then I walk back to the truck, and they're calling, like the crew chief's calling because it's one of the tire changers guys, and I guess he's got his tire changer thing in there or something. And I'm like, you son of bitches. And I slamming doors down there and raising hell. It's my last race, I'm trying to get a good send off. Yeah. But I had to go, and that's
I drove back
Bob
to the airport.
Jeffries in Atlanta one time. We were down there. Got rained out on Sunday. 100% chance on Monday. Not racing.
I love them 100%.
100% no chance in hell that it's going to be a race. So we go out drinking. And we got some Grand Marquis. That's how long it's been. They don't make them anymore.
It's a long time ago.
So we leave. We're down there south of the speedway a little bit, and I don't know who. We did not know who drove the rental car back to the hotel.
Good sign.
And then we get to the racetrack and open the trunk on the car. And you look, you figure there's gonna be a dead body in there because most time in a Grand Marquis or whatever them Lincolns are, there's a dead body in there. Bob said, "Y'all got my radios?" I said, "Nah." I got mine though, but he left his at the hotel, which thankfully wasn't in Pocono, where it's a 2-hour drive. But that's a bad feeling. I mean, like I looked down and there's a carabiner on mine yesterday, and I'm like, "Are you kidding me?
Who put this on my bag?"
I mean, and then I'm like, it ain't yours, but they all the same. They all look the same. It's kind of like when you unload off the plane.
Yes,
everybody's bag's the same.
I get on the roof. I wish I got two. I have to do two.
I'm going next because I got to pee.
We have time.
My What an Idiot, hands down, is starting the truck race at 10:15 Eastern Time.
Are you?
Because I just talked about the hardcore fan, who for the most part is still on the East Coast. Why are we doing this? That is hands down my What an Idiot. Whoever allowed this to happen should be fired.
I probably have already been in this segment, but my What an Idiot is how in the hell is the restart zone at the racetrack painted 75 yards from where they thought it was going to be. I mean, like we get there and I'm like, oh, I like this. It's shorter. It's not as big. Because like at most places where there's good racing, you got one cone. That's where you start at. You don't give them a football field. So we went from a football field to 60 yards, and then we moved it up 80 yards. So it's right at the start-finish. And I thought, well, this is going to be better because they won't be 17 wide getting down into one. Well, obviously after the truck race, they said, we're moving that.
I get up there, and I would have noticed it in the race. I didn't notice it. I didn't do truck practice.
I noticed it right away.
I didn't do truck practice, and then you practice, you're not looking. So, like, once the box was in front of us, the box is directly in front of me and TJ. Like it used to be,
right
like
here,
directly
right
in front of us. And I said, wow, it's way down there.
Yeah.
And then one of our officials came and said, hey, obviously we've the box is not where it's supposed to be. We're going to run it tonight and maybe move it tomorrow. And I look and I go, well, they ain't even going to be out of second gear yet by the time they get to we ain't going to worry about 4 wide of the line because they're going to be rolling so damn slow.
But the whole recovery from it is kind of where the what idiot is, because they said we did not know, or
how do you got this? Surely this has been painted for a week. You would hope.
Well, I mean, that paint, like the championship weekend paint and all the paint on the walls, everything's pretty fresh. Everything looks good. Somebody goes, like Melissa that does all the testing. People go weeks before to make sure
everything.
Stuff's in the right spot. The restart zone, I mean, that's like having a coach slot in the wrong spot. That's going to show up pretty quick. And it's the restart zone.
It's like I don't know who it is. Like NASCAR at the track. Like somebody should have. Somebody should have.
Y'all do. I hope they do for y'all. Is that stupid racing 17 wide on the apron? I mean, everywhere we go, you can't drop below the yellow line or the white line until the start finish, and then you got about a lane and a half. Why do we need 3 football fields to the left? I mean,
put
literally,
grass back in there.
You can't when you come off pit road. If you cross that line, you've blend line violation. But on a restart, you can go down and be on pit road and then come back across all that. That's the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
Can you
put a
imagine?
line around.
Put some AstroTurf down there or something?
I was kidding. Do not put grass down there. That'll be a
grass. Fake grass.
Water hazard.
Yeah, but I
you
don't
need
know.
a water hazard. You won't go down there
jump?
if it's a water
How
hazard.
about a jump?
Water, you want to put a bunker? You want a bunker on the bottom?
I'm so old. I remember going to Loudon one time, and they ran like a race on Saturday with Haley's dad. Brian, is that right?
Yeah.
And this was pretty cool. Like they came out and they ran like down the pit road. Oh, loose end. They'd run down the pit road and then they jumped the water hazard, kind of where the safety truck sat. They come back up and then go over the pit wall. All kinds of jumps. And then after that, we ran the Xfinity race.
Yeah,
they come out and just cleaned the up. But I don't know what series that was, but I'm looking to get there.
Yeah.
Travis Pastrana deal.
Nitro.
Yeah, exactly.
Nitro.
It was.
Rally Cross.
Yeah, whatever.
I spotted for him.
High Limit Series. Something.
You spotted for him?
Oh, yeah.
How'd that go? Probably short.
I mean, you park to leave, not to win. So, great guy, though. Great dude.
I have to give my wood restart zone was on my list. TJ's on my list. But how do you not give your What an Idiot award to Kyle Petty? After all the shit he talked about Ryan Blaney earlier and unfulfilled potential and all this stuff, and Blaney comes out here and just goes on a heater to end the year and wins him a championship. Like that's the ultimate just middle finger back to that. I mean, I thought those remarks were dumb at the time, and now Blaney goes out there and just makes him look really stupid at the end of the year. So congratulations on that award.
You go ahead.
I think Kyle Petty's good for the sport. I think he's one of the few
100%.
people. I think he's one of the few people that are on television that will actually speak their mind. And Clint Boyer, how well do you know Clint Boyer?
Pretty well.
How opinionated is Clint Boyer?
Very opinionated.
How opinionated is Clint Boyer on TV?
Not Clint Boyer.
Kevin Harvick, brilliant, opinionated, hard worker, most recent perspective of anybody that's going to be in that booth next year in either network. And if they calm him and tame him down, it's going to be unfortunate because we need voices and people that are willing to state their opinion, right or wrong. We do the same thing on here. Kyle Petty's good for the sport. He's one of the few people that'll say what he actually thinks versus what we need to do to sell the sport. So, sorry, TJ.
I mean, that's a good point. Man, there's so many that you could do as well. But it seemed like as the weekend went on, someone just kept topping.
Every time you thought you had somebody.
Yeah, it started off with me, and then the truck race happened, and there's 7 from the truck race that you could pick.
Which one was worse, Corey Heim or Carson Hocevar?
Corey Heim.
Yeah,
100%. I mean, the one was an accident, like a true accident, like unfortunate, but Carson.
I think Carson was. It was very dumb to what happened, but it's not intent. It wasn't intentional.
It wasn't like here he comes. Okay, I'm gonna wreck him now. And honestly, it did take away from a guy like Grant who has worked hard and has kind of had, seems to shuffle around a little bit. And
storybook ending, GMS shutting down, end finger to long shot.
Hey, Grant's a good dude, man. Like, not that any of the other guys aren't, but that changed the whole outcome right there. And it shouldn't. That was a bigger factor than it should have been. But yeah, the truck race happened. You got tons of different guys. You know, Corey should probably be the top of the list. You know, Joel's guy who hasn't lifted yet with that flat tire. And
I thought in the middle of the race yesterday, you were mad at a different guy named Corey. I can tell you that much.
Oh my good Lord! Yeah, Corey LaJoy come out. Well, he's 3 laps down, off sequence, waved around, did something to get off sequence there. And he comes out, and he is.
Is that one cold?
No, it's good.
The same as that.
Yeah.
Room temperature. Put that over in your stack.
We're racing with the 43 for like 9th place, and I mean we're racing hard, like, and we're getting near the end of the stage. And stage point, not that it matters stage point at this point, but you still want the spot.
Still mattered.
Yeah, I mean
it's money, no matter what.
He comes off of pit road, racing one other car on this lap. The other car is half a track in front of him, and not that 3 laps down you're going to make a lot up at that point anyway. So he comes off, and we're side by side off to the 43. He dives to the apron where Joel wants to put the jump, and clears all of us and enters really low, misses the corner, slides up. So we split him. Like 43 goes to the outside, we go to the bottom of him, and then he hangs a hard left off the exit of the corner, and then he kind of slides up in front of Brad a little bit, and Brad about hooks him on the backstretch, not purposely, but like smile.
Keep going. Keep talking.
Corey just, and then he drives up, but there's literally like, what was the point of that right there? You know what I mean? Let us figure out the position and then pass her, but you got tires, so. And then, I mean, I could obviously give it to Freddie's car in the Xfinity or in the Cup race
I
there.
almost gave it to my own guy.
What are we giving here now?
What an idiot!
Still,
Yeah, 5 to go in the race.
Yeah, I got
Freddie's guy
So
cleans Brad out.
we're almost done here. It's 3 hours into the show. We're going. Andrew's loving us right now.
I can't wait to edit it.
So, TJ, who you spotting for next year?
Are you going to edit me out?
Got all your stuff
Brad.
straight?
Yeah, there's going to be no record of you in
Who
this.
else you spotting for?
I don't know.
No.
I mean, this has been a weird year. I don't know.
Does Haley Deegan moving to Xfinity, is that attractive to you?
Yes and no. There's other opportunities that it's going to be tough. It's going to be a tough. I think she's a good fit for the Xfinity car when she can separate herself out, and
she could be the Jimmy Johnson of the Truck Series.
You never know.
You know, she ran that one Xfinity race and
ran well.
really, really well.
Yeah.
You know, or ran really well.
Because she wasn't in that hornet's nest.
How's that team going to be?
I don't. Honestly, they've had a lot of speed here lately.
Yeah.
They've been decent. So with some, I'm sure they're going to get some more backing.
That's Stuart Haas stuff, I think. Which is
older Stuart
pretty,
Haas stuff,
yeah, but it's pretty phenomenal as of late. And I mean, the old Stuart Haas stuff's even going to be better next year.
So it should has an opportunity to be.
Yeah.
I don't think it's gonna.
I hope she does well. I mean,
I think she has an opportunity to finish 8th to 15th. Most races. Some attrition, and she, maybe can put in. I think she can do well. She's good when it's her versus the car on the track. She's a very good driver with stuff like that. She doesn't do well whenever they drive into the corner 7 wide because she doesn't want to go in there and wreck somebody. And that's not how she races. And I know she's had a couple incidents.
So you're doing Brad. You won't tell us who you're doing Xfinity.
No.
You doing anybody truck?
Same scenario. Kind of waiting to see where the cards fall to do that.
What you going to do, part-timer? You know yet?
Which Cup car are you going to do at Daytona?
I tried hard the other week via text to talk him into doing John Hunter.
And you got close. You got close on a couple deals. I mean, I felt kind of bad last night. A couple guys I talked to coming home were out, don't got nothing, looking, and I thought, man, I'm pretty fortunate that I had about 4 choices. If I had Stuart Haas not asked me back, I could have went somewhere.
Right.
And you always want to be wanted, and I obviously wasn't going to stay there. I'm not. Me and Priest would probably not work, and I don't know about this one or that one, but I mean they still got an option on me, so I guess Jen will tell me at the end of the day. Hell, I don't know. But it was nice to get some texts and calls and to do it my way. But I've got. I mean, there's a 4 or 5 Cup deal, and there's a 13-race truck deal. There's a 16-race Xfinity deal. What I'm going to do is be part-time. That way a lot less pain in y'all's ass. And most of us have a really good time. I mean, especially the spotting part. And then At night we have a little better time sometimes, but I mean, a lot of those guys won't even talk to me because they think I'm nuts, or. But I just
they're scared. Believe it or not, people are scared of you for some reason.
Well, it shouldn't be.
I'm not even 1%.
It was a fun weekend with Nick because he was really and I texted you last week, that I knew, but I mean you got to think about it. I'm leading the race and I'm running behind him and the hack, holding. They're not racing for. And we're trying to get by them. Plus, we're trying to save tires. And Blaney's still 6 seconds behind me then, and all we're trying to do is win. You can't pass, so we put 2 tires on, and you just try to make them last.
Yeah.
And Eric's pretty good at saving tires, so we're trying to do that. But like Nick, I went down. I said, "Hey, man, I'm leading the race, and you're in the way. For God's sakes, your headset has your name on it. Get out of the way."
What you mean this guy's name on it?
Oh, well, that's another reason I can't do it. Like when the people, God love them, they show up.
Here you go. I love it.
And whether it's year 20 or year 1, and your headset's painted with your name on it.
Oh, so he's got a customized headset.
Customized with name and hey, Nick's a great guy. But I've done it all these years was just a straight up 3M Peltor headset from Racing Electronics. And the backpack, like me and Jason Jarrett was talking about yesterday. I said, when I need, no disrespect, TJ, but when I need a
Oh, you mean like there's
an uncrushable bag that like I could put my everything I own in to take to the roof. I'm just a backpack guy. I just got what I got. Minimal batteries.
I think Herm can move into his bag if he needs to.
Herm's bag is a casket. And somebody else has got one up there that side.
Drew.
Maybe that TJ.
Drew Herring.
Yeah, mine's actually small.
I used to spot for that one guy in the truck, so now he's got a big bag like that.
TJ Bell.
Yeah, TJ Bell. He's
got
one.
TJ 2.0.
He's got new shoes every week. I don't know. I don't get that.
He does. And
like I wore the same pair of shoes for 4 years.
He does have a new pair of shoes every week. Hey, what do you think about these? And I'll be like,
I don't get it.
Nice.
What are the? What am I doing wrong?
Are these your new one idiots?
I don't know what
I
this
think
is.
if you took my case, I think I got the same amount of stuff in my case. As
I
you
do
probably got in your
appreciate y'all's
backpack.
organization. Like y'all make fun of me every week. Not anymore though. When I get there and I hang my headset up on the rail and it looks like my cords, like you took them and just took the drill and just spun them till you can't move them.
Somebody, I can't remember.
Like 9 minutes getting my shit straightened out.
I can't remember who was standing next to me last week at Martinsville, but I started yanking. And Martinsville's a tough one because I don't ever unpack my bag before I go to the track. And from the week before, and I started trying to drag my radios out of my bag, and it was a disaster.
And somebody said,
and they're
Joel,
like, you hanging out with Joel?
Joel, take your stuff home.
We showed up for the duel one year, and it's been about 10 years ago. And I was standing beside Tool and Joel, and I had not had my radios out of my bag all winter. Like, no chance. And I think I crashed at Homestead, so I thought the batteries were still charged. I look at Joel on lap 2 of the duel. I go, how many batteries you got? He said, I don't know why. I was like, mine's dead. He said, it's lap 2 with the first race of the year. And I'm like, yeah, I didn't charge these things this winter.
I got you, bro.
But no, I'm team throw your bag and leave the racetrack too. Freddie, who you got?
I'm the same.
Who you spotting for? You know?
Yeah, I do. I'm going to spot for Bubba, believe it or not. Year 14.
Nice.
I
That's
think
good,
that
man.
is.
How many in Cup is this?
This for me, it'll be 11 next year. For me and Bubba, I think 17 was our first year, so that'll be
Okay.
7 years, I guess.
I think.
And you had a great season. Top 10 in points.
Oh,
Yeah.
One race. Had a lot of speed.
But, I mean, really good playoff for us. We jumped from 16th in points to 10th. I mean, we passed Truex. Truex had a 36-point cushion on us to start. He was 11th, I think. So, I mean, we had an unbelievable year.
Yep.
I'm a spot for Bubba. I don't know. Same thing with T. I would love to say I think I am leaning towards the a truck program, I believe. I think me and Brett are fielding offers for the Manning Cast truck races. Joel would be amazing on that as well. So if somebody wants to pay us to watch TV, drink beer, and call
I
about
got a lot of that this week. Like on my Twitter, most of it's pretty like I hope you die. But there was a lot of people saying like you should do that deal where you just talk shit. The whole
Maybe
time
we could
during the race.
maybe we could do a GoFundMe or something. And
who we raising money for.
Me.
Start the GoFundMe to
GoFundMe
fund
for
the
that
Manning cat, the truck.
Could
the
you
fucking
somebody
truck
will pay us.
Could you
Fucking
imagine
truck
me and
cast.
him? I mean, Claudia can't because I'm gonna have to stay down there, and we got another dog. We gotta bring Josie down. But like, it would be fun.
I think that'd be so much fun.
We just need to get donations like them other people get to do that stuff. Where they just,
OnlyFans. I mean, I kind of got one, but I ain't really. I'm not gonna call it out right here, but
yeah.
Or give like the.
You don't want to send the link out?
No, I don't want to send the link.
Spicy link.
Spicy. Yeah. Oh man!
Is this only 6 hours long? This show?
Oh my
Are we done yet?
So I filled in enough.
I think you did
Custer
good.
not being here is not going to matter.
Custer was here. He left. Yeah,
he was here.
Yeah, he did about 30 minutes. Yeah.
Okay.
We had.
Well,
him
I was late then.
He did about 10% of.
This is the first show we've ever done in our 10-year history, or however long it's been. TJ and I started this thing where we didn't teach anybody listening to a damn thing.
No.
They just heard stories the whole time.
This is a good show.
stories.
Stories are good though. You know, especially for a guy like me who's just that's all I got left.
Hey, maybe we should just need to get Joel back for the Christmas episode.
I'll come back.
We got
Wait a minute.
Reddick's coming.
When is that?
Oh yeah,
we don't know.
Yeah.
That might be a conflict.
You did call him Albert Einstein this week. So.
Was it not true? Dude, go to bed. Get off. Put your phone away. It's like Biffle used to tell me, "Hey, bro, don't tweet while you're drinking." I said, "Okay, that ain't gonna work."
That's not gonna work.
So you're mad at Reddick. You're going out on this
I'm
thing.
not mad at Reddick.
Mad at Reddick. Mad at Nick. You're mad at Austin Dillon.
I think him and Nick have patched it up at this point.
Me and Nick, we following each other on Twitter.
Okay, all right, so you're
X,
good.
sorry.
Are you
As long as it's not OnlyFans.
Are you and Austin Dillon following each other?
Nah, but if I get behind him, he'll know it. I can tell you that.
Hey, I got one addition that I forgot about that me and Freddie saw. It's my what an idiot. It's the guy that flew around the racetrack.
Oh God, on a hang glider or whatever the hell that thing was.
Can that be my
The
what an
scariest
idiot?
parts, I've been seeing that in the news. Like that's that stuff that's going on, like in the war. They're flying a little go-kart around with the hang glider. above it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And the dude's like down behind the mountains, and I thought the cops were going to shoot him down because the cops are on the mountains.
Yeah.
Then he crosses the racetrack, right?
Right
and
in
then
turn
he's over
1
in
and
the
2.
parking lots.
Goes down the backstretch, then he goes off into the sunset.
That ain't real smart on his
And
part.
I thought
now.
it was Kurt Busch going, "Do y'all not know who I am coming in here?"
Yeah.
Wow.
Well,
Doug Campbell just texted and said, "Are you guys getting beers after the podcast?" I'm gonna send him a pile.
That'd be
picture
a
of this
negative,
pile
sir.
over here.
oh boy.
Any closing thoughts?
I mean, obviously,
When's the Christmas special?
I don't know yet. We haven't decided that.
'Cause I will try to plan my 6 weeks in Minnesota.
It's probably here in a couple weeks, I would assume. But
When are you gonna let me come
mid-December.
ice fishing up there?
Anytime y'all want.
All right.
ice fishing don't sound fun.
We're going to go to the girlfriend's cabin. It's a little bit big. Mine's 20 by 20. It's about the size of that. The bathroom is nice, though. That's a good ad.
A little bit bigger than a Wilkesboro spotter
the
stand.
girlfriend's cabin's big and on a lake.
Yeah.
And nice bars around there. My place is a little small.
Where'd I fly into?
Bemidji.
Okay.
Huh?
Bemidji, I can't spell it, but let's see. Duke Thorson can spell it. Because Duke Thorson's grandpa or dad once was it the biggest paver ever up in this northwestern Minnesota town, and that's where Duke's money comes from.
Okay.
So like Jason Hedleski knows nothing about ice fishing, and Duke begs him to go every year because like Duke owns this town.
Could you see Jason ice fishing?
Can you see Jason fishing at all?
No, but I mean, especially ice fishing. Could you picture that?
Actually, I took Jason fishing in Texas at a buddy's, and he did really good. Like
that
this is
place
kind
you
of a
go
catching
to
deal
when you go there early. Yeah.
Yep, exactly. And got to see Jason this weekend. We forced him in between me and Hirschman. He said, because Brett's like me. It's going to be interesting to see how I am. Like when I come back in like March and say, I've been standing here for 35 years, because like Brett comes back, he won't stand where he's always standing.
He did,
Jason shows up.
I got
and
to fight at Darlington.
I've been here for, it's funny how we're territorial.
We are pretty bad about it.
And, I'm normally just easy going, So.
Yeah, very much so.
Ask Nick. I should pay for that shirt last week that I grabbed.
Did you grab his shirt?
I'm sure the sleeve's not the same size on the right as it is left. Nah, it's fine. I mean, I get it. I was that guy. Hey, my first spotting was like Scott Pruitt. So, and that's how you learn to be a good spotter, in my opinion. All these people are listening at home that are going to do it that think they're going to do it for a living. Cause they're hiring
start here.
They're hiring like anybody now to do it at some of these spots, from what I hear. But
So
you got to get somebody that runs about 30th because everybody can spot in the lead.
Oh,
hey,
yeah.
it ain't no
It's
trouble to
easy.
spot for the guy leading. But when you're 30th, you got your work cut out.
Speaking of Nick, on the way home, way back to the airport yesterday, they didn't run good yesterday. They were kind of 20s.
I saw. We got by him a couple times, and I was looking down because he was like 2 down. I'm like, yeah, there you go.
Take your customized headset and stick it up
your
your ass.
Yeah, exactly. I'll paint my headset.
He said, I don't know how anybody does that every week. Like you run, like because we talk about it on it all the time.
That's what I mean.
Fast cars are easy to spot for. Like if you're going forward,
you ain't
clear,
gotta say nothing.
Clear, you're good.
Yeah.
But before
Pits are open.
First of all, Joel, thank you for finally coming. You are probably been the most requested guest of DBC here for the last few months. But we got here called Prairie Fire. And apparently Prairie Fire won the original What an Idiot Award from Brett Griffin.
Oh.
For a paint scheme or something.
So, yeah, it's a RWR paint scheme that looked like Truex or something. So, I believe this is supposed to taste like Fireball. So, we'll close this out with a shot because we haven't drank enough today.
No.
But cheers to you guys. Joel, thanks for coming. Cheers
thanks for having me. I've been wanting to get down here forever, but it's like an hour drive, and I don't have a job, so saving.
Like
Andrew, Colby, Travis, I guess we'll lock you in here today. Dalton. Blake,
Brandon,
Ben
Walton, Micah.
Thank you for
Micah.
Mama
shoes.
Andy Griffith.
Casey,
don't worry about me. I just wanted to see Casey.
What about
out here.
what's her name? Grey Goose. Did you say her?
Abby.
Abby. So thank you to everybody for making this show what it is. You listeners, I think we got up to number 11 episode in the country last week somehow.
Yeah, maybe this will get top 10.
It's going to be long enough. I promise you that.
Some more stuff about Austin Dillon. Will that do it?
Cheers to you guys. Cheers to everybody. Thank you guys, and thanks for listening.
Thanks.
Final one of 2023. We'll be back. Christmas special if Andrew gets the printer working. Ooh.